to be public officers. The bill provides compliance measures. It sets out the steps that a public officer should take in situations where the public officer's private interests conflict or are likely to conflict with public interest and official duty. These steps, as provided for in this bill, include recusal, declaration of income, assets, and liabilities by public officers, and divestiture. So this is a bill that originates from the National Assembly. It has been committed to the Senate. A debate on it already took place extensively on the floor of the House. Moved to the next stage, that is the Committee of the Whole. Proposals or amendments have been moved with regards to this bill, and it is at the Committee of the Whole stage that these amendments will be considered, and whether they will be part of the bill as moved by the members. If you are just joining us, is that the quorum bell is now on. Those members working in that is the Majority Chief Whip, Honorable Bonnie Halwale, who's also the Kakamega Senator. Currently, the quorum bell is on because the House lacks the required number of senators for the business of the House to commence. 15 members are needed, as provided for in the House Standing Order number 39 and 40. Once the chair is taken and the prayer is said, and if there is no enough quorum for the House to commence its business, then that will necessitate that particular quorum bell. But remember, at this point, the Sergeant at Arms, the clerk, are keeping tabs with the numbers of the members inside. So once that number is achieved, then without much delay, the business of the House can begin. A debate on the Houses of Parliament bicameral relations bill, a bill originating from the National Assembly, Bill number 44 of 2023, is also lined up to resume debate. Its debate was interrupted on Thursday, 9th of May, the year 2024. The bill is at its second reading stage. That means there is a debate, or members are still debating on the contents of this bill. And this bill provides for, this bill seeks to give effect to Article 109, 110, 113, 114, and 118 of the Constitution, and seeks to foster the bicameral relations by prescribing procedures for ensuring seamless consideration of the legislative business of both houses. It seeks to boost, or rather to foster, the bicameral relations by prescribing procedures for ensuring seamless consideration of the legislative business of both houses. This bill provides for the publication of bills originating from either House of Parliament. Remember, there are bills that originate from the National Assembly and also bills originating from the Senate. And this bill provides for the publication of bills originating from either House of Parliament, the enacting formula, and imposes timelines for such publications. Well, allow me to hand you over to this live broadcast.
Clerk, proceed to call the first order, please.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Next order, clerk.
Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions.
The Chairperson, Standing Committee on National Security. Defense and Foreign Affairs.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to lay the following petition reports on the table of the Senate today, the 15th of May, 2024. One, the report of the Standing Committee on National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations on a petition to the Senate by the residents of Kajiado East and Kajiado West sub-counties concerning the alleged rampant livestock theft in the region and within Kajiado County in general. Two, a report of the Standing Committee on the National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations on a petition to the Senate by Mr. Isaiah Ochanda, an employee of the former Department of Defense, concerning the non-fulfillment of the court order and decree made in 2011 against the Ministry of Defense and the Attorney General and the non-payment of disability pension from 1996 to date. And finally, Mr. Speaker, the report of the Standing Committee on the National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations on a petition to the Senate by residents of Samburu County concerning persistent insecurity, cattle rustling, loss of lives and property in Loroki and Malaso divisions of Samburu Central Sub-County. I thank you, and I lay these papers on behalf of the chairperson of the Standing Committee on National Security, Defense and Foreign Affairs.
Next order, clerk.
Order number 5, papers.
The Majority Leader.
You laid there.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the Senate today, Wednesday, the 15th of May, 2024. This is a report of the Standing Committee on National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations on the Elgeyo Marakwet County Assembly resolution on measures to curb banditry in Kerio Valley. Further to that, Mr. Speaker, I lay the following papers as well. These are the reports of the Auditor General on the financial statements of the following for the year ended 30th June 2023. Thika Municipality, Kikuyu Municipality, Kiambu County Jinue Fund, County Assembly of Embu Car Loan and Mortgage Scheme Fund, Trans Nzoia County Public Service Board, Kakamega Municipality. Mr. Speaker, I beg to lay.
Next order, clerk.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Chairperson, Standing Committee on Health. Or any member of that committee.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion, which is the adoption of the report on the Standing Committee on Health on the inquiry into the alleged irregularities in the procurement of long-lasting insecticide-treated nets at the Kenya Medical Supplies Authority. That the Senate adopts the report of the Standing Committee on Health on the inquiry into the alleged irregularities in the procurement of long-lasting insecticide-treated nets at Kenya Medical Supplies Authority, laid on the table of Senate on the Wednesday, 8th of May, 2024.
Now, honorable senators, before I allow the clerk to call the next order, Allow me to make the following communication. Honorable Senators, as you may recall, Majority Leader and Senator Mariam, take a seat. As you may recall, at the sitting of the Senate held on Tuesday, the 19th of March 2024, the Senate Majority Leader, Senator Aaron Cheriot, MP, rose on a point of order seeking the intervention of the Speaker on the submission to Parliament by the Controller Budget of the reports on the implementation of budgets of the national and county governments. In the point of order, the Senate Majority Leader highlighted that from previous practice, quarterly reports on the implementation of the budgets of the national and county governments submitted to Parliament the Controller Budget were made available to senators in the designated pigeonholes. The senator further stated that in the recent past, he noted a deviation from the established practice, expressing concern that the lack of submission of the reports by the Controller Budget was hindering the senator's ability to effectively fulfill the oversight function. To this end, the Senate Majority Leader sought the guidance of the Speaker to require the Controller Budget to resume submission of the quarterly reports to the Senate. Senator Morango, the chair must be heard in silence. To this end, the Senate Majority Leader sought the guidance of the Speaker to require the Controller Budget to resume submission of the quarterly reports to the Senate and a statement of the practice of making the reports available in the Senator's pigeonholes. Honorable Senators, the point of order raised by the Senate Majority Leader was supported by the Senator for Kisii County, Senator Richard Onyonka, MP, and the Senator for Narok County, Senator Ledama Olekina, MP, who expressed concern that vital information on the reports of the Controller Budget was available in the media before submission of the reports to the Senate. The Senators further highlighted concern about potential misrepresentation of the reports by the Controller Budget in the media. Upon listening to the contributions made by the Senators on the point of order raised by the Senate Majority Leader, I directed that the Controller Budget appears before the Senate on Wednesday, 27 March 2024, to respond to the concerns raised by the Senators on the matter and to give an undertaking on the submission of the reports to the Senate. Now, Honorable Senators, Article 228(6) of the Constitution requires the Controller Budget to submit to each House of Parliament a report on the implementation of the budgets of the national and county governments. I have perused the report on papers laid in the Senate to ascertain whether the Controller Budget has been adhering to the provisions of the Constitution referred to herein above, and to establish that the reports on the budget performance for county governments and national government have been submitted to the Senate. From the report, the Controller Budget has submitted the following: Annual County Government's Budget Implementation Review Report for the financial year 2021-2022, the first half; Annual National Government Budget Implementation Review Report for the financial year 2021-2022, County Government's Budget Implementation Review Report for the financial year 2021-2022, first 9 months; County Government's Budget Implementation Review Report for the financial year 2021-2022, first quarter; Annual County Government's Budget Implementation Review Report for the financial year 2021-2022, County Government's Budget Implementation Review Report for the first quarter of the financial year 2022-2023, National Government's Budget Implementation Review Report for the first quarter of the financial year 2022-2023, National Government's Budget Implementation Review Report for the financial year 2021-2022, National Government's Budget Implementation Review Report for the first half of the financial year 2022-2023, County Government's Budget Implementation Review Report for the first half of the financial year 2022-2023, National Government's Budget Implementation Review Report for the first 9 months, May 2023, County Government's Budget Implementation Review Report for the first 9 months of May 2023, National Government's Budget Implementation Review Report for the financial year 2022-2023, Annual County Government's Budget Implementation Review Report for the financial year 2022-2023, National Government's Budget Implementation Review Report for the first 3 months of the financial year 2023-2024, National Government's Budget Implementation Review Report for the first 6 months for the financial year 2023-2024, and lastly, the County Government's Budget Implementation Review Report for the first half of the financial year 2023-2024. These reports are tabled before the Senate on diverse dates between the 6th of October 2022 and 5th of March 2024, and subsequently referred to Standing Committee on Finance and Budget. The reports are available for circulation to all honorable senators through the Senate Journal's office. Honorable senators, that being the case, the matter of the appearance of the Comptroller budget before the Senate therefore does not arise. The matter rests there. I have the following further communication to make. I will allow honorable senators to walk in and take the seats before I make this communication. Majority Leader, you cannot raise on a point of order at this juncture. Please proceed to seek your clarification.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you for your communication before the House. I respect it, but I greatly feel that it falls far way below what was the expectation of the House, in the sense that it addresses only part of what was raised, but there are other issues that are not addressed in your communication, which maybe you can guide in which way the House can be guided. Mr. Speaker, a reading of Article 228(6) is not only plain. In law, Mr. Speaker, they speak of the letter and the spirit. While the letter speaks of 4 months quarterly, the spirit, and indeed that is what led to members intervening that afternoon, has been that actually these reports were sent month-by-month basis. And there is a history to this, Mr. Speaker. I was a member of Budget and Finance Committee at that time when we had the meeting with the then Controller of Budget and agreed that for senators to perform their oversight duties more prudently, then it is important that a senator is furnished with the quarterly report, with the monthly reports on month-by-month performance of their county. And out of that meeting, Mr. Speaker, they began sending those reports to our pigeonholes. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I don't find, and I don't think that has been sufficiently addressed, because the reason I had requested that you ask her to come here is that so that she has an understanding of the history of how we arrived at that particular decision. In fact, Mr. Speaker, we had grown that conversation to a level where we said, apart from just dropping it into our pigeonholes, we live in the 21st century. This is a digital age that I submit my official email address, Mr. Speaker, of which I expect to be furnished with that particular report. And that by the time this Senate made that resolution, that was the eventual decision and the finding of the House. Therefore, I felt it was important for this current Controller of Budget to come before us so that she appreciates the history. Your letter, unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, addresses the letter of the law, but not the spirit of it. Therefore, I want to plead with you, Mr. Speaker, and I agree with your ruling, I don't challenge it. If then through other means, you can find ways of communicating with her so that she appreciates why it is important for senators to have month-on-month reports on what their governors are doing with the finances that are being sent to their specific counties. That makes you a better senator, so that you don't speculate, you don't rumor-monger, but you do things which you know are accurate and verified from government reports. If that can be addressed, Mr. Speaker, then I feel that the point of order will have been sufficiently dispensed with. I humbly submit, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Majority Leader. As far as the Constitution goes, the Comptroller budget has discharged her constitutional obligation. However, I hear you that beyond the constitutional requirements, there was an agreement between the Senate and the Comptroller budget when they sat and agreed that instead of these reports being transmitted quarterly, they be transmitted monthly. We need not summon the Comptroller budget before plenary to achieve that. It's going to be done administratively through the office of the clerk, And the office of the clerk is now obligated that whenever these reports are received, other than committing them to the Standing Committee on Finance, they must be made available to all senators by depositing the same in the pigeonholes so that they can be able to read and see the performance of their counties. Now, going forward, clerk, you may have to engage the Office of the Controller Budget to submit monthly reports, which monthly reports must make their way to the pigeonholes of each of these honorable senators so that they can be able to follow how their counties are performing. I believe that can be done administratively without having without having to summon the Controller Budget to appear before the plenary. Let's rest this matter there. Honorable senators, take your seats. I make this communication. Now, honorable senators, as you may recall, at the sitting of the Senate held yesterday, Tuesday, the 14th of May, 2024, I directed Senator Samson Cherargei, MP, to substantiate utterances made in the course of debate following a point of order raised by the Senator for Siaya County, Senator Dr. Oburu Oginga, MP, pursuant to Standing Order 105-1. Standing Order 105 provides, and I quote, "A senator shall be responsible for the accuracy of any facts that the senator alleges to be true and may be required to substantiate any such facts instantly. If a senator has sufficient reason to convince the Speaker that the senator is unable to substantiate the allegation instantly, the Speaker shall require that such senator substantiates the allegations not later than the next sitting day, failure to which the senator shall be deemed to be disorderly within the meaning of Standing Order 121, disorderly conduct, unless the senator withdraws the allegations and gives a suitable apology if the Speaker so requires." Honorable senators, in the point of order raised by Senator Dr. Oburu Oginga, MP, Senator Samson Cherargei, MP, was required to substantiate the claim that, for example, we have seen that the Deputy Governor of Siaya County cannot access his office. He does not have a vehicle, fuel, or any resources allocated. Senator Samson Cherargei, MP, was not able to substantiate his statements as required pursuant to Standing Order 105-1 and subsequently requested the Speaker to provide the evidence at the next sitting day in accordance with Standing Order 105. Having acceded to the request, I directed that the senator substantiate the allegations at the next sitting day, which is today. Pursuant to the Standing Order 105-2, I now invite Senator Samson Cherargei, MP, to forthwith substantiate the claims as raised in the point of order by Senator Dr. Oburu Oginga, MP, failure to which the senator shall be deemed to be disorderly within the meaning of Standing Order 121, and in the absence of such substantiation, the senator will be required to withdraw the statement and apologize to the Senate. Senator Fernandi, you may proceed to substantiate.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for allowing me to. Mr. Speaker, I want to table, I don't know whether I can table my phone because I have a petition electronically, an official letter from the Deputy Governor of Siaya to the Clerk of the Senate indicating that he cannot access his office. He doesn't have utility car, Mr. Speaker, and security officers, and he cannot access his office. And that petition has been sent through the clerk to the Senate Republic of Kenya, requesting the intervention of the Senate, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, what I was just saying yesterday is already, and there is a petition, there is a letter to the Devolution Committee and the clerk of the Senate, Mr. Speaker, to indicate that the Deputy Governor of Siaya does not have a utility car, which is officially assigned, Mr. Speaker, does not have access to his office, and even resources that has been allocated. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, I have official petition, which has also been shared with the clerk of the Senate of the Republic of Kenya and through the Devolution Committee to you, I have it in soft copy. It is from His Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Siaya, Dr. William Odwal. And Mr. Speaker, I beg to table my phone. I know somebody can disappear with my phone, and it is high security gadget. Mr. Speaker, yeah, there are dangerous things that if Senator Matsayo sees, the world might come to an end. Mr. Speaker, I proceed to table the document in soft copy, the petition. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Fernandez, make a hard copy, and in the next 20 minutes, bring it and table it in a hard copy. Next order. Now, honorable senators, this juncture, you will allow me to rearrange the sequence of today's order paper pursuant to Standing Order 45-2, and I'm doing this for the convenience of the House. We will proceed immediately with order number 8. Thereafter, we'll move to order number 9, 10, and 11, before resuming the normal flow of business as contained in today's order paper. So, Clerk, you may proceed to call that order.
Order number 8, the Maternal, Newborn and Child Health Bill, Senate Bills number 17 of 2023, second reading, division.
Sergeant at Arms, ring the division bell for 1 minute.
Well, that is the division bell as directed by the Speaker. The division bell is for the Maternal, Newborn and Child Health Bill, a bill originating from the Senate by the nominated Senator Honorable Beatrice Ogola. It's a bill whose debate at the second reading already took place extensively on the floor of the House, and the division for this afternoon is for the bill to be read a second time. This is a bill that proposes a legal framework that can facilitate and enhance the delivery of quality maternal, newborn, and child health services, provide a platform for raising the profile and agenda. It was a 1 minute division bell once the... All right, that's it. Allow me to hand you over.
Sergeant at Arms, kindly proceed to close the door and draw the bars. Order, honorable senators, kindly take your seats so that I can put the question. Senator Mazayo Ledama, kindly take your seats. Order, honorable senators. Take your seats. Now, honorable senators, I will now proceed to put the question, which is that the maternal, newborn, and child health bill, Senate Bills number 17 of 2023, be now read a second time. Now, honorable senators, voting shall be done electronically. So at this juncture, I'll ask you to pull out your cards from the delegate unit. And Sergeant at Arms, just go around and pick the cards that are unattended. Sergeant at Arms, are we done? Good. Honorable senators, you may now log back. You may log back into the delegate unit and proceed to vote. Honorable senators, vote. Some of you are not voting. Can you vote, honorable senators? And whoever has a problem with the system, you'll be assisted. Clark, can we get to know the ones who had difficulties in voting? Honorable Senators, those who had difficulties with the system, kindly proceed to the dispatch and cast your vote. Order, Honorable Senators, kindly. Senator Boni Khalwale, resume your seat. Now, Honorable Senators, the results for that division are as follows. Ayes 26, nays 0. Senator Muma, abstention 0. So the ayes have it.
A bill for an act of parliament to provide for a coordinated system for the provision of quality maternal, newborn and child health services, to provide for response to maternal and child morbidity and mortality in the country, to provide for a healthcare system that facilitates the attainment of health rights for mother and child, and for connected purposes.
Subject to terms, you may now open the doors and withdraw the bar. Next order, Clerk.
Order number 9, Committee of the Whole. The Gambling Control Bill, National Assembly Bills number 70 of 2023. Order number 10, Committee of the Whole. The Conflict of Interest Bill, National Assembly Bills number 12 of 2023.
Honorable Senators, we are now in the Committee of the Whole, and we will be looking at the Gambling Control Bill, National Assembly Bills number 70 of 2023. We will also look at the Conflict of Interest Bill, National Assembly Bills number 12 of 2023, and the voting will be done at the end for both of them. So I call for...
Yes, so indicate that Senator Sege has 2 amendments, so we say that we now announce the clauses so that he can move them.
Which one? Which are they?
Clause 10.
You've not guided me. Put me where I am. Once I start announced.
Clause 10.
Yeah.
And this clause 87. And this clause 87.
Honorable members, we are now on the Gambling Control Bill, National Assembly Bills number 70 of 2023, and I'm informed Senator Sigei has 2 amendments.
Clause 10.
I propose the question that clause 10 be part of the bill. Mover?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I propose an amendment to clause 10 to read that clause 10 of the bill be amended by inserting the following new paragraph immediately after paragraph N. That will be clause 10NA, in collaboration with the Kenya Revenue Authority, established under Section 3 of the Kenya Revenue Authority Act, established a monitoring system for tax compliance under this Act.
I propose that clause 10 be amended as proposed. I put the question that clause 10 be amended as proposed. Division at the end.
Further amendment to clause 87.
Where is it? I propose the question that clause 87 be part of the bill. Mover?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I propose that clause 87 of the bill be amended under 87A in subclause 2 by deleting paragraph E, and under clause 87 subclause B by deleting subclause 4 and substituting therefore the following new clauses. Under 4, that a person who contravenes the provisions of this section commits an offense and shall, on conviction, be liable to a fine not exceeding 1 million shillings or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 1 year or both. I thank you.
I propose the question that clause 87 be amended as proposed. I put the question that clause 87 be amended as proposed. Division at the end. Honorable members, we are now moving to the Conflict of Interest Bill, National Bills number 12 of 2023.
Clause 3.
I propose that the question that clause 3 be part of the bill. Mover? Senator Sigei?
Just close.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The committee proposes that clause 3 of the bill be amended in subclause 1 by deleting paragraph C and substituting, therefore, the following new paragraph. C, enhance public confidence in the integrity of public office and delivery of public services.
I put the question that clause 3 be amended as proposed. Division at the end. Sorry, I propose the question that clause 3 be amended as proposed. I put the question that clause 3 be amended as proposed. Division at the end.
Clause 4.
I propose the question that clause 4 be part of the bill. I put the question that clause 4 be part of the bill, division at the end.
Clause 5.
I propose the question that clause 5 be part of the bill. Senator Olekina.
I propose that clause 5 of the bill be amended by renumbering the existing clauses on as subclause 1, B, deleting the word "and Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission," appearing immediately after the words "reporting authority," and C, inserting the following new subclause immediately after the existing subclause. 2A, reporting authority shall, for the purpose of subsection 1, oversee the management of conflict of interest for all public officers it is responsible for. B, promote best practices for the management of conflict of interest. And C, conduct public awareness on the management of conflict of interest.
I propose the question that clause 5 be amended as proposed. I put the question that clause 5 be amended as proposed, division at the end.
Clause 6.
I propose the question that clause 6 be part of the bill. Senator Ledama.
I propose that the bill be amended by deleting clause 6.
I propose the question that clause 6 be deleted. I put the question that clause 6 be deleted, division at the end.
Clause 7.
I propose the question that clause 7 be part of the bill. Senator Ledama.
That clause 7 of the bill be amended. A, in the marginal vote by deleting the words "the Commission," appearing immediately after the words "powers of," and substituting thereof the words "a reporting entity." B, by deleting the word "the Commissioned," appearing at the beginning of the introductory clause, and substituting by deleting paragraph D and substituting thereof the following new paragraph. D, cooperate and collaborate with other public entities or agencies in the management of conflict of interest and enforcement of this act.
I propose the question that clause 7 be amended as proposed. I put the question that clause 7 be amended as proposed, division at the end.
Clauses 8 to 10.
I propose the question that clause 11, I propose the question that clauses 8, 9, and 10 be part of the bill. I put the question that clauses 8, 9, and 10 be part of the bill, division at the end.
Clause 11.
I propose the question that clause 11 be part of the bill. Senator Ledama.
That the bill be amended by deleting clause 11.
I propose the question that clause 11 be deleted. I put the question that clause 11 be deleted, division at the end.
Clause 12.
I propose the question that clause 12 be part of the bill. I put the question that clause 12 be part of the bill, division at the end.
Clause 13.
I propose the question that clause 13 be part of the bill. Chairperson Jailak.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I propose an amendment to clause 13, that clause 13 of the bill be amended in subclause 1 by deleting the words "interest of the officer or the interest," appearing immediately after the word "to" further there, and substituting therefore the words "private interest of the officer or."
I propose the question that clause 13 be amended as proposed. I put the question that clause 13 be amended as proposed, division at the end.
Clause 14.
I propose the question that clause 14 be part of the bill. I put the question that clause 14 be part of the bill, division at the end.
Clause 15.
I propose the question that clause 15 be part of the bill. Chair Jailak.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I propose an amendment to clause 15 to read that clause 15 of the bill be amended in subclause 1B by deleting the word "offer," appearing immediately after the words reporting authority and substituting therefore the word acceptance.
I propose the question that clause 15 be amended as proposed. I put the question that clause 15 be amended as proposed, division at the end. Honorable Senators, can we have silence, please? Can you consult in low tones?
Clauses 16 to 18.
I propose the question that clauses 16, 17, and 18 be part of the bill. I put the question that clauses 16, 17, and 18 be part of the bill. Division at the end.
Clause 19.
I propose the question that clause 19 be part of the bill. Chair Jailak? Chair Jailak, clause 19.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Senator Sige, you want?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I beg to move that clause 19 of the bill be amended in subclause 1 by deleting the words or beneficiary of, appearing immediately after the words be a party to, and further proposed an amendment to clause 19b in subclause 2 by deleting the words or beneficiary of, appearing immediately after the words be a party to. Thank you.
I propose the question that clause 19 be amended as proposed. I put the question that clause 19 be amended as proposed. Division at the end.
Further amendment to clause 19.
I propose the question that clause 19 be part of the bill. Senator Ledama.
Madam Chair, that clause 19 of the bill be amended by inserting the following subclause immediately after clause 2. 2A, despite subsection 2, a public officer may be a party to a contract for the disposal of goods in relation to a computer, a telephone, or any other device capable of storing personal information, and the computer, telephone, or the device was for the exclusive use of the officer.
I propose the question that clause 19 be part of the bill. I propose the question that clause 19 be amended as proposed. I put the question that clause 19 be amended as proposed. Division at the end.
Clause 20.
I propose the question that clause 20 be part of the bill. Senator Ledama.
Madam Chair, that the bill be amended by deleting clause 20.
I propose the question that clause 20 be deleted. I put the question that clause 20 be deleted. Division at the end.
Clauses 21 and 22.
I propose the question that clauses 21 and 22 be part of the bill. I put the question that clauses 21 and 22 be part of the bill. Division at the end.
Clause 23.
I propose the question that clause 23 be part of the bill. Senator Ledama.
Madam Chair, that the bill be amended by deleting clause 23.
I propose the question that clause 23 be deleted. I put the question that clause 23 be deleted. Division at the end.
Clause 24.
I propose the question that clause 24 be part of the bill. Senator Ledama.
Madam Chair, that clause 24 of the bill be amended in subsection 2 by deleting paragraph A.
I propose the question that clause 24 be amended as proposed. I put the question that clause 24 be amended as proposed. Division at the end.
Clauses 25 and 26.
I propose the question that clauses 25 and 26 be part of the bill. I put the question that clauses 25 and 26 be part of the bill. Division at the end.
Clause 27.
I propose the question that clause 27 be part of the bill. Senator Ledama.
Madam Chair, that the bill be amended by deleting clause 27.
I propose the question that clause 27 be deleted. I put the question that clause 27 be deleted. Division at the end.
Further amendment to clause 27.
I propose the question that clause 27 be part of the bill. Chairperson Jailak.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I beg to move that clause 27 of the bill be amended in subclause 1 by deleting paragraph A and substituting therefore the following new paragraph. A, act for or on behalf of any person in connection with any specific proceeding, transaction, negotiation, or case in which a reporting authority is a party and with respect to which the former public officer had acted for or provided advice to the reporting authority.
I propose the question that clause 27 be amended as proposed. I put the question that clause 27 be amended as proposed. Division at the end. Honorable members, just to notify you that should the first amendment by Senator Ledama be carried, the second amendment will be dropped. You can. Okay. Okay. Senator Chair Jailak.
Madam Chair, thank you very much. In light of the proposed amendment by my colleague Senator Ledama to clause 27, I beg to drop the proposed further amendment and agree with the proposed amendment by Senator Ledama to delete entirely the provisions of clause 27.
The further amendment is so dropped.
Clause 28.
I propose the question that clause 28 be part of the bill. Senator Ledama. 28.
28, sorry. Madam Chair, that the bill be amended by deleting clause 28.
I propose the question that clause 28 be deleted. I put the question that clause 28 be deleted. Division at the end. Can the two gentlemen approach the bench?
Clause 29.
I propose the question that clause 29 be part of the bill. Senator Ledama.
Oh, sorry, let's start with the chair. We start with the one for the chair.
Give me the mic.
The chair.
Oh, sorry. That, Madam Chair, the bill be amended by deleting clause 29.
Yeah, it's okay.
I did. I can say it again. That the bill be amended by deleting clause 29. Who is that on phone? Your mic. Hey, Umwami.
Is there someone? Who is on phone, please? Okay. We are on clause 29. I propose the question that clause 29 be part of the bill. Senator Ledam. Yeah. He'll just withdraw. Okay. It is.
Madam Chair, that the bill be amended by deleting clause 29.
I propose the question that clause 29 be deleted. I put the question that clause 29 be deleted. Division at the end.
Further amendment to clause 29.
Chair Jailak. No, sorry. I propose the question that clause 29 be part of the bill. Chair Jailak.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In light of the proposed amendments by Senator Ledama to delete entirely the provisions of clause 29, I beg to move that our earlier proposal be withdrawn and adopt the proposed amendment by Senator Ledama.
The further amendment is dropped.
Clause 30.
I propose the question that clause 30 be part of the bill. Senator Ledama. Senator Ledama? Okay.
Madam Chair, I propose that clause 30 of the bill be amended by deleting the heading to part 4, appearing immediately before the clause. B, in subclause 1, by deleting the words decisions, debate, or vote, appearing immediately after the words from any discussions, and substituting therefore the words or decisions, and C, by deleting subclause 2 and substituting thereof the following new subclause. 2, where a public officer recuses himself under subsection 1, the recusal shall be recorded in the minutes of the transactions in questions.
I propose the question that clause 30 be amended as proposed. I put the question that clause 30 be amended as proposed. Division at the end.
Clause 31.
I propose the question that clause 31 be part of the bill. Senator Ledama.
Madam Chair, I propose that the bill be amended by deleting clause 31.
I propose the question that clause 31 be deleted. I put the question that clause 31 be deleted. Division at the end.
Clause 31A.
I propose the question that clause 31A be part of the bill. Senator Ledama.
Madam Chair, I propose that the bill be amended.
Order, senators. Can we consult in low tones, please? Proceed.
That the bill be amended by deleting clause 31A.
You finished? I propose the question that clause 31A be deleted. I put the question that clause 31A be deleted. Division at the end.
Clause 31B.
I propose the question that clause 31B be part of the bill. Senator Ledama.
That the bill be amended by deleting clause 31B.
I propose the question that clause 31B be deleted. I put the question that clause 31B be deleted. Division at the end.
Clause 32.
I propose the question that clause 32 be part of the bill. Senator Ledama.
Madam Chair, I propose that the bill be amended by deleting clause 32.
I propose the question that clause 32 be deleted. I put the question that clause 32 be deleted. Division at the end.
Clause 33.
I propose the question that clause 33 be part of the bill. Senator Ledama.
Madam Chair, I propose that the bill be amended by deleting clause 33.
I propose the question that clause 33 be deleted. I put the question that clause 33 be deleted. Division at the end.
You can ask them to come again because it's a proposal to delete clause 34 and an amendment to the...
Senator Sige and Senator Ledama, just approach the bench a little. Yeah.
Clause 34.
I propose the question that clause 34 be part of the bill. Senator Ledama.
Madam Chair, I propose that the bill be amended by deleting clause 34.
I propose the question that clause 34 be deleted. I put the question that clause 34 be deleted. Division at the end.
Further amendment to clause 34.
I propose the question that clause 34 be part of the bill. Chair Jailak.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In line with the proposed amendments by Senator Ledama, I beg to move that the proposal by the committee be dropped and adopt the proposal by Senator Ledama to delete entirely the provisions of clause 34.
The further amendment is dropped.
Clause 35.
I propose the question that clause 35 be part of the bill. Senator Ledama.
Madam Chair, I propose that the bill be amended by deleting clause 35.
I propose the question that clause 35 be deleted. I put the question that clause 35 be deleted. Division at the end.
Clause 36.
I propose the question that clause 36 be part of the bill. Senator Ledama.
Madam Chair, I propose that the bill be amended by deleting clause 36.
I propose the question that clause 36 be deleted. I put the question that clause 36 be deleted. Division at the end.
Clause 37.
I propose the question that clause 37 be part of the bill. Senator Ledama.
Madam Chair, I propose that the bill be amended by deleting clause 37.
I propose the question that clause 37 be deleted. I put the question that clause 37 be deleted. Division at the end.
Clause 38.
I propose the question that clause 38 be part of the bill. Senator Ledama.
Madam Chair, I propose that the bill be amended by deleting clause 38.
I propose the question that clause 38 be deleted. I put the question that clause 38 be deleted. Division at the end.
Clause 39.
I propose the question that clause 39 be part of the bill. Senator Ledama.
Madam Chair, I propose that clause 39 of the bill be amended as follows. A, in subclause 1, by deleting the words "or the Commission" appearing immediately after the words "reporting authority." B, in subclause 2, by deleting the words "or the Commission" appearing immediately after the words "reporting authority." C, in subclause 2A, by deleting the words "and the Commission" appearing immediately after the words "reporting authority." And D, Madam Chair, in subclause 3, by deleting the words "or the Commission" appearing immediately after the words "reporting authority."
I propose the question that clause 39 be amended as proposed. I put the question that clause 39 be amended as proposed. Division at the end.
Clause 40.
I propose the question that clause 40 be part of the bill. Senator Ledama.
Madam Chair, I propose that clause 40 of the bill be amended as follows. In subclause 1, by deleting the expression "section 48, the Commission," or appearing immediately after the words "despite," and substituting thereof the expression "section 39," and B, by deleting subclause 2 and substituting thereof the following new subclause. 2, if the reporting authority declines to commence an investigation, the reporting authority shall inform the person who lodged the complaint and give reasons for the decision.
I propose the question that clause 40 be part of the bill. Oh, sorry. I propose the question that clause 40 be amended as proposed. I put the question that clause 40 be amended as proposed. Division at the end.
Clause 41.
I propose the question that clause 41 be part of the bill. Chair Jailak. 41. Clause 41.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I beg to move that clause 41 of the bill be amended by inserting the following new clause immediately after subclause 2. That should read clause 41, subclause 3. If the Commission or a reporting entity fails to conclude the investigations within 90 days, the investigation shall be deemed to have been concluded at the expiry of the 90 days, and the officer shall resume his or her duties.
I propose the question that clause 41 be amended as proposed. I put the question that clause 41 be amended as proposed. Division at the end.
Clause 42.
I propose the question that clause 42 be part of the bill. Chair Jailak. Clause 42. Chair Jailak.
Madam Chair, I beg to withdraw the proposed amendment to clause 42.
The amendment is withdrawn.
Further amendment to clause 42.
I propose the question that clause 42 be part of the bill. Senator Ledama.
Madam Chair, I propose that clause 42 of the bill be amended as follows. By deleting the marginal note and substituting thereof the following new marginal note. Decisions of a reporting authority. B, in subclause 1, by deleting the words "the Commission" appearing at the beginning of the introductory clause and substituting thereof the word a reporting authority. Roman numeral 2, deleting the words recommend to a public entity to appearing at the beginning of the paragraph A. And then Roman numeral 3, deleting the words public entity, appointing authority, or the appearing immediately after the words recommend to a paragraph B, and C by deleting subclause 2.
I propose the question that clause 42 be amended as proposed. I put the question that clause 42 be amended as proposed. Division at the end. 43.
Clause 43.
I propose the question that clause 43 be part of the bill. I put the question that clause 43 be part of the bill. Division at the end.
Clause 44.
I propose the question that clause 44 be part of the bill. Senator Ledama.
Madam Chair, I propose that clause 44 of the bill be amended by deleting the introductory clause and substituting thereof the following new clause. 44A, a reporting authority or any other person acting on their behalf shall not, unless required by law, disclose any information that comes to their knowledge in the performance of their duties under this Act, unless disclosure is in the opinion of the reporting authority or
Done.
wait.
You need water.
Unless the disclosure is in the opinion of the reporting authority or that other person, blah, blah.
Maybe check with legal.
Can we proceed and defer? 44.
There must be another bill. Less. No, from somewhere else.
I have it here.
Is the text what is in the other paper? Or it's different?
Is it the same? Unless, because the clause,
Can I check on my...
Let me see the clause.
you see, the clause 44.
Which one is this? A reporting authority on the person acting.
Unless the responsible
Disclose the information that comes to the unless the disclosure is in the opinion of the reporting authority or that other person.
You have replaced 44, but it doesn't have introductory. No,
It's the introductory part.
Because you see, unless the other person, A, essential for the purpose of carrying out their functions and exercise of the powers conferred to them under this Act.
Unless the disclosure in that opinion of the reporting authority or other person. Let me see.
Introductory. The Senator is amending this
Only the introductory part. But you see, unless the disclosure in the opinion of that other person.
essential for the should be
The word is. Yeah.
But we can do that during the cleanup for the bill.
Okay, do you want to repeat?
Yeah.
Clause 44.
Yes.
Senator Ledama.
Madam Chair, I propose that clause 44 of the bill be amended by deleting the introductory clause and substituting thereof the following new clause. Just on the introductory aspect, a reporting authority or any other person acting on their behalf shall not, unless required by law, disclose any information that comes to their knowledge in the performance of their duties under this Act, unless the disclosure is in the opinion of the reporting authority or of the other person is, then it continues.
Okay. I propose the question that clause 44 be amended as proposed. I put the question that clause 44 be amended as proposed. Division at the end.
Clause 45.
I propose the question that clause 45 be part of the bill. I put the question that clause 45 be part of the bill. Division at the end.
Clause 46.
I propose the question that clause 46 be part of the bill. Senator Ledama. 46, Senator Ledama.
That's what I'm looking at. 1 second. Madam Chair, I propose that the bill be amended by deleting clause 46 and substituting thereof the following new clause. 46, no criminal or civil proceeding shall lie against a reporting entity or any person acting on its behalf for anything done, reported, or said in good faith in the exercise of their power or the performance of any functions under this Act.
I propose the question that clause 46 be amended as proposed. I put the question that clause 46 be amended as proposed. Division at the end.
Clause 47.
I propose the question that clause 47 be part of the bill. Senator Ledama.
Madam Chair, I propose that the bill be amended by deleting clause 47.
I propose the question that clause 47 be deleted. I put the question that clause 47 be deleted. Division at the end.
Clause 48.
I propose the question that clause 48 be part of the bill. I put the question that clause 48 be part of the bill. Division at the end.
Clause 49.
I propose the question that clause 49 be part of the bill. Senator Ledama.
Madam Chair, I propose that the bill be amended by deleting clause 49.
I propose the question that clause 49 be deleted. I put the question that clause 49 be deleted. Division at the end.
Clause 50.
I propose the question that clause 50 be part of the bill. Senator Ledama.
Madam Chair, I propose that clause 50 of the bill be amended by deleting subclause 1.
You're done. I propose the question that clause 50 be amended as proposed. I put the question that clause 50 be amended as proposed. Division at the end.
Clause 51.
I propose the question that clause 51 be part of the bill. Senator Ledama.
Madam Chair, I propose that the bill be amended by deleting clause 51 and substituting thereof the following new clause.
Sorry.
The Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act, the Public Officers Ethics Act, and the Leadership and Integrity Act are amended in the manner specified in the second schedule.
I propose the question that clause 51 be amended as proposed. I put the question that clause 51 be amended as proposed. Division at the end.
First schedule.
I propose the question that the first schedule be part of the bill. Senator Ledama.
Madam Chair, I propose that the bill be amended by deleting the first schedule.
I propose the question that the first schedule be deleted. I put the question that the first schedule be deleted. Division at the end.
Second schedule.
I propose the question that the second schedule be part of the bill. Senator Ledama.
Madam Chair, I propose that the bill be amended by deleting the second schedule.
I propose the question that the second schedule be deleted. I put the question that the second schedule be deleted. Division at the end.
Third schedule.
I propose the question that the third schedule be part of the bill. Senator Ledama.
Madam Chair, I propose that the bill be amended by deleting the third schedule and substituting thereof the following new schedule. Third schedule, consequential amendments.
Done.
Did I read them all? I just said.
No.
As listed
As proposed, as listed.
As listed in the order paper.
I propose the question that the third schedule be amended as proposed. I put the question that the third schedule be proposed, be amended as proposed. Division at the end.
52.
Okay, proceed.
Clause 2.
I propose the question that clause 2 be part of the bill. Senator Ledama.
Madam Chair, I propose that Clause 2 of the bill is amended in the definition of the word conflict of interest by inserting the word a describable. I can't see this. A designable.
Discernible. Discernible.
Madam Chair, that Clause 2 of the bill be amended in the definition of the words conflict of interest by inserting the word as a discernible immediately after the word public officer has, then B, by deleting the following definition of the words commission, C, by deleting the definition of the word complementary treatment, D, by deleting the definition of the word gainful employment, E, by deleting the definition of the word registrable interest, F, by deleting the definition of the word responsible commission, G, by deleting the definition of the word significant official dealings, and H, by deleting the definition of the word explained assets.
I propose the question that Clause 2 be amended as proposed. I put the question that Clause 2 be amended as proposed. Division at the end.
The title and Clause 1.
I propose the question that the title and Clause 1 be part of the bill. I put the question that the title and Clause 1 be part of the bill. The division at the end. Honorable Senators, we are now going to divisions, and I wish to request the Sergeant at Arms to ring the bell for 5 minutes. The division bell for 5 minutes.
Well, that is the division bell. It is a 5-minute division bell as directed by the chair. This is the committee of the whole considering the gambling control bill, a bill originating from the National Assembly Bill number 70 of 2023. This afternoon sitting or business being transacted on that bill is resumption of the debate that was interrupted on Tuesday, 14th May. And remember, debate on this bill was already concluded on the floor of the House. The bill being at the committee of the whole is for the consideration of the amendments that had been moved by various members with regards to the bill. And that is what we have just been witnessing, the amendments that members had on the bill. Some of the amendments that were moved earlier on, including the deletion of a number of clauses and the adoption of amendments that were moved by members. The division bell is for the members to be able to get the required quorum for the consideration of the amendments with regards to the bill, whether the amendments that have been moved will be adopted to be part of the bills. It is a bill that is at the committee of the whole stage. And once the amendments have been considered and voted on, then the bill will proceed to the next stage. It's a bill that has a total of 123 clauses. And just to take a look at what this bill entails exactly, is that it seeks to provide for a legislative framework for the regulation of gambling in Kenya and also incorporate safe gambling principles in the gambling sector. The bill seeks to regulate betting, casinos, and other forms of gambling, including the authorization of prize competitions, public lotteries, media promotions, and other issues with regards to the gambling sector. All right, allow me to hand you over back to the voting session.
We begin with the Gambling Control Bill, National Assembly Bills number 70 of 2023. Where is majority? Tabitha? Why don't you guide Tabitha to respond? Okay, so we are on the Gambling Control Bill, National Assembly Bills number 70 of 2023. Mover.
Honorable Chairperson, pursuit number 80-153, 153, I beg to move that the Committee of the Whole do report on its consideration of the Gambling Control Bill, National Assembly Bills number 70 of 2023, and seek leave to see it again tomorrow.
I put the question that the Committee of the Whole do report on the consideration of the Gambling Control Bill, National Assembly Bills number 70 of 2023, and seek leave to sit again tomorrow. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as are of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. We'll now report progress on the Conflict of Interest Bill, National Assembly number 12 of 2023. Majority? Move it. Yeah.
I know. My bosom. Honorable Chairperson, pursuant to 80-153, I beg to move that the Committee of the Whole do report on its consideration of the Conflict of Interest Bill, National Assembly Bills number 12 of 2023, and seek leave to sit again tomorrow.
I put the question that the Committee of the Whole do report on its consideration of the Conflict of Interest Bill, National Assembly Bills number 12 of 2023, and seek leave to sit again tomorrow. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as are of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Honorable Senators, Mr. Speaker.
I did. I said when I'm going, you should be attentive. Up to here, eh? Okay, let's report on the progress of the Committee of the Whole on the Gambling Control Bill, National Bill Assembly Bills number 70 of 2023. Chairperson.
Oops. Honorable Speaker, I beg to report that the Committee of the Whole has considered the Gambling Control Bill, National Assembly Bills number 70 of 2023, and seeks leave to sit again tomorrow.
Mover.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the House do agree with the committee on the said report.
Who is seconding the motion?
Senator Nandi Cherargei to second.
Senator Cherargei. Did you do that? Honorable Senators, I propose the question that the House do agree with the committee in the sent report. I put the question that the House do agree with the committee in the sent report. As many as of the similar opinion say aye. As those of the contrary opinion say nay, the ayes have it. Let's go to the next bill, the Conflict of Interest Bill, National Assembly Bills number 12 of 2023. We want to report progress, Chairperson.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to report that the Committee of the Whole has considered the Conflict of Interest Bill, National Assembly Bills number 12 of 2023, and seeks leave to sit again tomorrow.
Mover.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the House do agree with the committee on the said report.
Senator Cherargei is still seconding.
Senator Cherargei.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to second.
Thank you. So, honorable senators, I propose the question that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. I put the question that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. As many of the similar opinions say aye, as those of the contrary opinion say nay, the ayes have it. We drop them.
No, we defer.
We defer. Honorable Senators, we now go back to the statements. We have several statements.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
But before we get to that order, Senator Cherargei, and a matter that he must dispense of before he sits in this chamber. So can you table the relevant documents that you have concerning the Deputy Governor of Siaya County?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for allowing me and your indulgence. Yesterday, I had requested to table to substantiate as per Standing Order number 105, 105, 1 and 2. Mr. Speaker, there is a petition that was submitted to the office and was received on 7th May 2024, and it backs up my assertions that the Deputy Governor of Siaya, in his hand and seal, Dr. CPA Dr. William Mudwal, the substantive Deputy Governor, has stated that, Mr. Speaker, briefly, before I table, has stated that, one, there has been exclusion from Siaya County Executive Committee meetings. Two, Mr. Speaker, and which I stated yesterday, withdrawal of utility car and county security, and then refusing to provide fuel for my official, for the official car.
What is your point of honor? Because the senator is trying to table.
Is substantiating.
Substantiate the allegations.
The matter that the Honorable, my friend Koske is trying to substantiate is already before a committee of the Committee of Devolution. It is being investigated. And Mr. Speaker, is it in order for a senator to raise issues and even substantiate what is already being discussed by another committee of Parliament and use the same documents which are before that committee to pretend to be substantiating before those matters are thoroughly investigated?
Let me guide you, Senator Chalgei. The evidence that you have, the documents that you just table them, it is the prerogative of the Speaker to check admissibility of those documents. So you don't need to explain anything, just table the...
Mr. Speaker,
the documents that you have.
What? I have not even spoken. What is out of order?
Order, Senator Kavidu.
Mr. Speaker, as I table this document to substantiate my assertions yesterday, understanding,
table
I want to tell the House there is no senator called Kosgei. And number two, why is Senator Oburu uneasy? And still is the PA to Governor Orengo. Why is he uneasy about the I table, Mr. Speaker?
What is it again?
Mr. Speaker, sir, Honorable Koske is imputing wrong motive on my request on a...
Are you referring to Senator Chalgei?
Mr. Speaker, is this in order? Is it in order for him to even refer to me as a personal assistant of a governor? And I'm the rightful senator of Siaya elected by an overwhelming majority with more votes than the governor himself.
Yes. So Senator Chalgei, you know when you are referring to your colleague, kindly use the best language possible. Because also not be happy to be told you are the PA to Governor Sang.
Mr. Speaker, you know I have tremendous respect for Senator Oburu. And I know he's the substantive senator of Siaya. My point has been made, but I profusely withdraw and apologize to him and ask him to stick to the mandate of oversight, not protecting Governor Orengo. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Let's members go to the statements, starting with the statement by 52-1. Is it Aminda? By Senator Aminda Kibwana. Then that statement is defunct. We go to statements under 53-1. Senator Samson Chalgei.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. Request for statement on reported confrontations between officers from the Kenya Defence Forces, KDF, and the National Police Service. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations regarding reported recent confrontations between the officers from Kenya Defence Forces, KDF, and the National Police Service. In the statement, Mr. Speaker, the committee should, one, outline the circumstances that led to the public confrontations between officers from the KDF and the Kenya Police at the Likoni Ferry Terminal in Mombasa County, which was reported on 27 April 2024, and that happened yesterday evening here in Nairobi. The Speaker explained the circumstances and reasons behind the arrest and subsequent detention of KDF officers by the police at Lodwar Police Station in Turkana County, reported on 16 April 2024, following an altercation between soldiers from KDF and counterparts from National Police Service, which raised unnecessary public alarm and anxiety to the residents of Lodwar Town, Turkana County. So, Speaker, number 3, assess the level of risk these confrontations between KDF and National Police Service pose to public safety, especially when such incidences occur in the presence of armed officers of KDF and National Police Service, are recorded by the public, and state the investigative capacities of Kenya Police Service regarding such sensitive incidences. Mr. Speaker, and finally, state the disciplinary actions, if any, that have been taken against the officers found, or both KDF and National Police Service, found to have behaved unprofessionally, and state measures being taken to enhance the cooperation and collaboration in multi-agency operations, such as those at the port of Mombasa and across the Republic of Kenya. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
To end 2 statements, Senator Chalgei. There is another one to the Standing Committee on Roads and Transportation.
Mr. Speaker, request for statement on the status of road construction in Nandi County. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Roads and Transportation on the status of road construction in Nandi County. In the statement, the committee should, 1, provide a report on the expenditure of budgetary allocation for roads in Nandi County for financial year 2022-2023 and 2023-2024, and also explain reasons for the glaring reduction in the budget in 2023-2024 financial year to County of Nandi. Mr. Speaker, and this concerns the tarmac roads. Mr. Speaker, state the total number of roads in Nandi County that have been upgraded to bitumen standards or tarmac from 2019 to date, and the kilometers thus upgraded. Mr. Speaker, number 3, explain why the Kenya Urban Roads Authority, KURA, will commence tarmacking of roads in Nandi Hills, Maraba, Kaptumo, Lesos, Kabiyet, and Kaptel, Mr. Speaker, which had demonstrations the other day. Mr. Speaker, number 4, state when the constructions will begin on the following roads and disclose all the contractors assigned to construct the roads, including maintenance, before they start, indicating the amount allocated for each road and what is causing to delay, Mr. Speaker. 1, Kaiboi Chepterwai Kapkatembu Road to Kamagut, through, Mr. Speaker, I think they needed it through to Chepsaita, all the way to Kwamagut. Mr. Speaker, and you know the President's aide, Farouk Ibet, comes from this place. Mr. Speaker, we have Chemuswa, Chomisia, Danger Road, which the residents have been demonstrating for the last 2 weeks, Mr. Speaker. Number 3, Timborwa, Maraba, Kobere Road. Mr. Speaker, number D, Mugundoi, Nandi Hills Road. Mr. Speaker, Nandi Hills, Imaki Road. Mr. Speaker, Lesos, Keses, Cheptire through the Moi University, and I know you know Moi University very well. And Mr. Speaker, the reclassification from Cheptire Center to Lone Moi University reclassification. Mr. Speaker, I thank you.
The other statements by Senator Veronica Maina, Beatrice Ogora, Senator Kale Nyamu, Senator Christo Asige. All those statements are defined. We go to the next order. Yeah, so I'm rearranging again the business of the day. We now go to order number 23. Go out to order number 23.
Order number 23, motion. The progress report of the ad hoc committee on the compensation to the Kenya victims of the 1998 bombing of the United States of America Embassy in Nairobi.
Senator Mohamed Faki, have your seat. I'm aware of that statement, which is similar to the statement with Senator Miraj. So with my honest opinion, I've advised that that matter be looked afresh so that we don't, it's the same statement. So I have given some guidance, Senator Faki. So that determination will be made by the table, don't mind. So let's proceed. That is being worked on, Mr. Senator Mohamed Faki. Proceed, Senator Kavindu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. At long last, the progress report of the ad hoc committee on the compensation of the Kenyan victims of the 1998 bombing of the U.S. Embassy in Nairobi. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Senate ad hoc committee on the compensation of the Kenyan victims of 1998 bombing of the United States Embassy in Nairobi was established on 29th June 2023, but held its first meeting on the 18th of July 2023. The committee was able to meet with the victims of the bomb last tragedy, their lawyers, the next of kin of the deceased victims, and the groups representing various. Mr. Speaker, can I be heard in silence, please? Mr. Speaker. Mbona mnapiga kelele sana?
Who are you addressing now, Senator Kavindu?
I've called you, Mr. Speaker, so that I can be heard in silence.
Prosecute your matter.
Yes, but can I be heard in silence, Mr. Speaker, please? The noises around are confusing me.
Is reasonable. Proceed.
Thank you. The committee also attended the victim prayer on the 5th of August 2023 and on the 25th commemorandum of the bomb blasts of the 7th August 2023 at the August 7th at Memorial Park. Honorable Speaker, sir, the committee met with the cabinet secretaries of the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Labor, and Ministry and Social Protection, and the Ministry of Foreign and Diaspora Affairs, and the Ministry of Interior and National Administration. The committee was also able to meet with the National Council for Persons with Disability. Mr. Speaker, sir, from the interactions with the above stakeholders, the committee gave the following directions to the ministries. The Ministry of Health conducts medical assessment of the surviving victims of the 1998 U.S. bomb of the U.S. Embassy in Nairobi and submit the report to of the assessment to the committee in order to assist the committee build its case on compensation of the said victims, that the Ministry of Labor and Social Protection and the National Council of Persons with Disability undertake registration for the survivors with disabilities. 3, the Cabinet Secretary in charge of Foreign Affairs push the matter of compensation at the Cabinet level. And 4, the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Interior and National Administration develop regulation to operationalize the compensation of the victims of terrorist funds, which was formed in 2012. Mr. Speaker, sir, though the committee was unable to secure appointment with the U.S. Embassy in Kenya, and the U.S. Congress, Senator Manso and I were able to attend the National Prayer Breakfast at Washington, D.C., where we were able to meet various senators and congressmen and put forward our case on the compensation of Kenyan victims of 1998 bombing of the U.S. Embassy in Kenyan chairman of the committee, especially where we were able to meet with Senator Chris Coons, the chairperson of the U.S. Senate Foreign Relations Subcommittee on the African Affairs, and he agreed to the meeting of the two committees to discuss compensation on the Kenyan victims. Honorable Speaker, sir, Senator Coons, as the chairperson of this very important committee of the U.S. Senate, is very instrumental in the proposal of the ad hoc committee in the amending of the Justice for United States Victims of States-Sponsored Terrorists Act 34 U.S.C. 11-20144, which provides for the establishment of the administration of the U.S. Victims of State-Sponsored Terrorist Fund, the U.S. VSST Fund, to provide compensation to certain U.S. persons who were injured in acts of terrorists, the state-sponsored terrorists, including Kenyans, victims of the 1998 U.S. bombing in Nairobi. Mr. Speaker, sir, within the remaining time of to the expiry of the mandate of the committee, the following up is following up with the following institutions in order to assist the Kenyan victims in 1998 bombing of the United States of America Embassy in Nairobi, who have not been compensated to date. 1, the Ministry of Health on the provision of subsidized medical care for the survivors injured during the 1998 bombing in the U.S. Embassy of Nairobi. 2, the Ministry of Labor and Social Protection on the assessment of the registration of the survivors with a disability in the 1998 bombing with the National Council of Persons with Disabilities. 3, the Ministry of Interior and National Administration on the formulation of regulations to implement the Section 49 of the Provisions of Terrorist Act 2012, which operationalize the compensation of the victims of the terrorist fund. Appropriate recommendations shall be made by the committee on this matter in its final report. Mr. Speaker, sir, in the progress report, the committee recommends that the Cabinet Secretary in charge of Foreign and Diaspora Affairs secure appointment for the committee to meet with the members of the United States of America State Foreign Relations Subcommittee on African Affairs to discuss the committee's proposals of amending the Justice of United States of Victims of the State-Sponsored Terrorist Act, which provides for the establishment of and administration of the United States Victims of State-Sponsored Terrorist Fund to include Kenya victims of the 1998 bombing of the United States Embassy in Nairobi. The Cabinet Secretary is to provide bi-monthly updates on the progress made in securing the appointment. The committee intends to appreciate. The committee extends its appreciation to parties who volunteered submissions and contributions to the resolutions of this matter. I also wish to express my appreciation to my fellow senators for their contribution in this matter. The committee thanks the Office of the Speaker of the Senate and the Clerk of the Senate for the support extended to the committee and the Committee of Liaison in the execution of its mandate. With these many remarks, I wish to move the motion and request that the House adopt the progress report and the ad hoc committee on the compensation of the Kenyan victims of 1998 bombing of the United States Embassy in Nairobi, tabled in the Senate on the Thursday, 2nd May 2022. I now ask Senator Manso to second. Thank you.
Senator Ndani Manzo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we want to thank the House for having given the ad hoc committee an opportunity to resolve issues affecting Kenyans. Mr. Speaker, this is a matter which has been pending before the U.S. courts and the House of Parliament for many, many years, Mr. Speaker. When this committee was set up, Mr. Speaker, it met all the victims, most of the victims. Most victims, Mr. Speaker, widowed children, the widowed children, orphaned children, widowed, let me say people who have lost their parents in this process, and people have lost their husband or wives in this process. Mr. Speaker, this is something Kenyans know and remember very well, those who are big enough by 1998, 25 years ago. First, Mr. Speaker, the biggest challenges of these people were some going through medical treatment. Some were flown to the US for medical treatment, Mr. Speaker. And they formed groups and have leaderships so that they could use that to do their claims. Notable was the driver of the Honorable Kamodo, who was at duty and had left his family early in the morning, left little children like 3 years old, 2 years old. When this bombing happened, he died there. And up to today, his children are waiting for justice, and we hope them, together with many others, will get justice through this House and through the Senate in America and the Congress. Mr. Speaker, what is needed in this particular matter is for an amendment to be made in the US law to include Kenya as one of the states which can be compensated. That without it, compensated from a fund, a victims fund, which is set up by the Ministry of Justice, and which is monies collected from defeated Al-Qaeda networks, including the frozen accounts in America. So the money for compensation is available, Mr. Speaker. The Kenyans who went for treatment in the US and Kenyans here went to court in the US, Mr. Speaker. There was a very big challenge as to whether a Kenyan national could sue Al-Qaeda on the US soil. Mr. Speaker, that took 10 years and was rejected at the equivalent of High Court. It then went to the Supreme Court, Mr. Speaker. And at the same time, coincidentally, the then ambassador to Kenya, Bushnell, had written a book which had detailed some of the activities. And this provided evidence sufficient enough to allow the Supreme Court of the US to allow Kenyans to sue Al-Qaeda on Kenyan soil. And for that matter, over 3,000 suits have gone through. They are awaiting this amendment so that they could be compensated. That particular law has a form for the other Kenyans who can be verified that they were in this unfortunate incident, either dead or injured. And Mr. Speaker, a lot of these people live today going through medication for the last 25 years, going through hospital operations on their own accord, Mr. Speaker, going through removal of glasses from their body, which is done slowly, because some of it, Mr. Speaker, is stuck in the brains. And most of them live uncertain lives. And we met all of them in this Senate, Mr. Speaker, and promised to help them. Mr. Speaker, what is very important now is this amendment to be caused in the US. The minister, the chief cabinet secretary, and the minister in charge of foreign affairs has been in touch with this committee and has made his contribution in this committee, has been briefed, Mr. Speaker, and he has sought a document from this House, which is what we are debating today, at least a progress report, which while they visit the US with the president, they can go with and they can make a presentation to the government of America so that the government of America could also be of help in lobbying for us through the Senate and the Congress, of which, Mr. Speaker, when we got an opportunity, we really lobbied with a lot of them, and they are waiting for this amendment so that they can assist Kenyans. They understood our problem very well. There had been misinformation that all Kenyans were compensated. It has now come from this House and from the courts in America that all Kenyans were not compensated. Mr. Speaker, we are talking of a compensation of about 3 trillion Kenyan shillings. And this compensation, if this amendment is caused upon the president's visit in the US or in the nearest future, Mr. Speaker, then Kenyans will be compensated. This is not from America's taxpayers' money. This is from the money belonging to the people who injured our people. And it is sufficient and it is fair enough that they only compensate the victims so that they may have a relief in their lives and they may have a better livelihood, Mr. Speaker. So I'm pleading with this House, Mr. Speaker, that we debate and give a report urgently. And I believe some of the members of this House who are traveling with the President will have acquired enough information to be of assistance to the President while doing this trip to the US. And I hope all these Kenyans, 6,000 in number, who have suffered for very many years, Mr. Speaker, will finally find rest, will finally find happiness, will finally find that they have been assisted by this Senate, will finally find that they have been assisted by the government of Kenya and the government of America. And we also want to thank the American government and their soldiers for having worked very hard to destroy Al-Qaeda networks in the world and to save many more Kenyans all over the world from being destroyed through terrorism. But that doesn't mean, Mr. Speaker, we don't keep watch. Many other groups could arise. This is something which is most unfortunate, but happens to any country in the world, and happened to Kenyans. I thank you, Mr. Speaker. I second.
Honorable Senators, I now propose the question that the Senate endorse the progress report of the ad hoc committee on the compensation of the Kenyan victims of the 1998 bombing of the United States of America Embassy in Nairobi, laid on the table of the Senate on Thursday, 2nd May 2024. I can see a few senators have interest. We start with Senator Chalgai Samson.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. And I think when this bomb blast happened, Mr. Speaker, I was still very young. I had not even joined high school. Mr. Speaker, while we continue to condone and empathize with many families who lost their loved ones through this horrendous and tragic terror attack that happened between Dar es Salaam and Nairobi, where over 274 people were lost and more than 4,500 were injured, Mr. Speaker. The remaining who did not die, Mr. Speaker, continue in many years to undergo horror, pain, because of medication, because of trauma. So, Speaker, I want to thank the committee led by Senator Agnes Kavindu and the Select Committee for doing justice, fairness, Mr. Speaker. As I speak, I have one family in Kablelmet in Nandi Hills constituency where they lost their loved one who used to work in the next building where the bomb blast happened. So I want to say this report was thorough. Mr. Speaker, I have known the reason why the committee always requested the extension of time. I thank your office for ensuring that the committee and commitment of all members, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Senate has raised up again as the lead voice for seeking justice, truth, and fairness through this committee, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the issue of terrorism continues to hurt the world. Many lives are lost. But I'm happy, even in this country, after that incident, there are many measures that the government continue to do to fight the issue of terrorism by establishing even anti-terrorism unit in this country, Mr. Speaker. So, Speaker, number two, on recommendations, I agree entirely. It is not hard. Mr. Speaker, we have passed the Prevention of Terrorism Act, and we already have victims' compensation fund that should be operated, Mr. Speaker, to ensure these victims may be compensated. So, Speaker, that's the least we can do. They have lost their loved ones, they lost their spouses, they lost their children, Mr. Speaker. And the mother in Kablelmet in Nandi Hills continues to cry daily because of the loss of his son, Mr. Speaker. So, Speaker, this issue of compensation, I think, and I want to agree, even as the President visits the United States of America for bilateral engagements, I want to challenge the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi, to ensure in his diary, as the President engages other stakeholders, including President Joe Biden of United States of America, and Madam Ambassador Megan Whiteman has been very supportive, Mr. Speaker, to include in the diary as part of the engagement. And I want to request, Mr. Speaker, through your office, the clerk to provide a certified copy to the Office of Prime Cabinet Secretary, Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, to ensure as the President engage and the information, and I want to thank committee, the United States of America government does not have a problem in compensation of Kenyans who lost their loved ones and injured. It is part of engaging in bilateral, Mr. Speaker. And the issue of compensation of victims of terror is not new. You remember United States were paid more than $335 million by Sudan government the other day over the terror attacks of 2000 and also the killing of a United States of America citizen in 2008. Mr. Speaker, you remember the famous air crash. I know by that time you are alive, where there was a terror attack on Lockerbie, Scotland, Panam airplane that was brought down by attack. That was Panam Flight 103, Mr. Speaker. That time, the Libyan government, Mr. Speaker.
Which year was that?
Was in the late 1980s, Mr. Speaker. Yes, I can see. You have been around for some time, Mr. Speaker. And I can see my brother, my friend, Senator Oburu Odinga is nodding because he must be aware, Mr. Speaker. And this flight, Mr. Speaker, the attack was carried in Lokabe, Scotland, and many U.S. citizens lost their life. The Libyan government paid over 1.5 billion US dollars to the United States to compensate their citizens. So what we are just requesting is that let these victims plus their families be compensated. When the Ethiopian airline, the famous through Boeing, that the 7878 MAX crashed, Mr. Speaker, their families have been compensated. So it is a tradition that this compensation must be done, Mr. Speaker. It is that the least we can do, considering. And I want to thank the committee for bringing that issue, Mr. Speaker. On the second issue of recommendation medical cover to be subsidized, I think that's a small matter for Ministry of Health. I know there is a verified, certified victims compensation, and I'm happy on this one, Mr. Speaker. And like, you know, when you used to have IDP lists, there are so many fake lists, but I'm happy on this one. This one has been verified, has attained, Mr. Speaker, and therefore to provide subsidized medical cover, I think it is a straight matter further that we must give them, Mr. Speaker. And not only for care, Mr. Speaker, it is also to give them guidance and counseling, Mr. Speaker. Because of the trauma, they need counseling services, Mr. Speaker. You can imagine the horror they went through because of the bomb blast, Mr. Speaker. I agree that many Kenyans who are injured became disabled, Mr. Speaker. And disability is sometimes not because you are born with, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in the last session, I was a temporary PWD in this house. And I want to thank the Senate. They gave me all the support. So it's not something that it is, we want to request the Ministry of Labor to register all PWDs and be given the necessary support after registration, Mr. Speaker. And I think that is very important on medical cover. Finally, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the committee. Let us compensate. Because of the interest of this, for this compensation, I want to thank Senator Kavindu and the Select Committee for doing a good job, Mr. Speaker. And I request your office, we need to add more. I know I had an issue, Mr. Speaker, that I requested to come to your committee. We need to add more resources, Mr. Speaker. We need to add more resources to creation of select committees. Because you can see the work of select committee, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we need, you know, the resources should be sufficient enough. We don't need, like joint services in Parliament, as more resources than Senate. And yet, when there was a blackout, we could not even have fuel for generator in this session, Mr. Speaker. But the Joint Services Committee has more resources than the Senate, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, even when Senate, and Mr. Speaker, I want to say this in conclusion. This House must be respected. Whenever we are in session, it looks like there is a go-slow from the support services, not from the staff of the Senate, but even other services, Mr. Speaker. When you go there, there is no food, Mr. Speaker. The members, I can tell you, half of your members did not eat food today because we were told there were so many visitors, so senators had to forgo their food. The other day, we had blackout. We were told joint services had disappeared with the key for generator and fuel, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, even the issue when you go to washrooms, there are no tissue papers, Mr. Speaker. But when National Assembly is on session, all these things are available, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to challenge that we must be respected as a Senate. And Mr. Speaker, this report has put the Senate on the moral pedestal of respect in this republic. We are proud, despite the challenges, despite the sabotage and challenges we face as a House, Mr. Speaker, including insufficient funds to committees and even non-provision of the support, Mr. Speaker, we continue to soar higher and higher and higher, Mr. Speaker. But I want to challenge, I know Senator Kavindu, she's a bishop. You know, Mr. Speaker, when Bob Marley was interviewed, although he died at the age of 36, somewhere in Jamaica, he was asked, Mr. Speaker, and people who are Rastafarians like some of us, Mr. Speaker, would say more fire. Mr. Speaker, he was asked, have you sold so much to acquire riches in terms of concerts and music that you sing? And he asked question, what do you mean by wealth and riches? They tell them in terms of possession. He says, the riches that is there, Mr. Speaker, is to have life forever and to have one love in this world. Our prayer is in the song of Bob Marley that we should have one love. Whether you are Chinese, African, American. If we have one love, we shall able to eradicate the disaster, the challenge of terrorism in this world. We have one love to all humanity, Mr. Speaker. And in the words of Bob Marley, that should always encourage us, Mr. Speaker. I would have sung, but today, Mr. Speaker, I did not eat very well. But in future, I will sing, Mr. Speaker. They would say more fire to that. Mr. Speaker, I support and congratulate the committee.
Thank you. Senator Oburu Oginga.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I would start by thanking Senator Kavindu and the select committee which went through this matter. This matter is a matter which is affecting so many Kenyans. Mr. Speaker, in 1998, when Senator Koskei was in secondary school or in primary, I don't know where, but that time, Mr. Speaker, I was already serving my second term in this House, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, I recall that day I was traveling home in the morning, and I left very early in the morning, and when I arrived in Muhoroni at around 10, 11, I was asked where I had come from. I said I had come from Nairobi, and they asked me whether I was aware what had happened in Nairobi. I said I had no idea. I was told that there is a serious issue. There is a bomb blast which has happened in Nairobi, and many people have died, and that the American embassy was blown, and the cooperative, we used to call it Bell Bottom, building had shaken, and there were many buildings around which also had problems, including the headquarters of railways, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, since then, it is a long, long time, and many things have happened. There's a lot of water under the bridge, Mr. Speaker, sir. And Mr. Speaker, I can tell you for sure that the Americans who are in the American embassy, all of them here have been compensated. Some Kenyans who are also in that embassy have been compensated. Mr. Speaker, the only people who have not been compensated are the innocent Kenyans who are not within the embassy, those who are working, who are in their offices doing work, and those who were actually just in traveling, who are in public transport nearby that time. Mr. Speaker, some of them died, some of them were maimed. The kind of damage which has been done, Mr. Speaker, there is a lot of medical expenses which is needed for those people, the care mentally, even counseling for some of the people who are involved, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, you really wonder why Kenya, which has no reason, terrorists really have no reason to bomb Kenya. Because Kenya does not involve itself in very high international politics, where you have reason, where terrorists have reason of injustices happening elsewhere in the world, Mr. Speaker, to follow America, to follow them where they are, because they know, Americans know why these terrorists are following them for some injustices elsewhere, not in Kenya, Mr. Speaker. And then Kenyans become the pawn. They become victims of those injustices, Mr. Speaker. And then now when it comes to compensation, Kenyans have to cry. Kenyans have to follow. Kenyans have to pass resolutions in the Senate. Kenyans have to form some select committees to cry and plead and plead and plead so that they can be compensated, Mr. Speaker. They can be compensated from a fund which is there. That money is there, Mr. Speaker. And I understand this committee could not even secure appointments, to meet people who are in charge of American affairs around here, within our country, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think this is serious, and we have to call spade a spade. Mr. Speaker, we should not be mincing words. We should actually be, and I thank Honorable Kabindu. Honorable Kabindu, you have a feeling for our people. Some of them, I can tell you, Mr. Speaker, in that incident, a constituent of mine, I was the member of parliament for Bondo, a constituent of mine who was working in an American embassy, lost her head, and we buried her without her head. We just could only recognize the body, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this happened to many, many Kenyans like that. People were maimed, completely maimed, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm speaking this with a lot of emotion because I feel so disappointed that a powerful country with so much money, with so much resources, just a paltry compensation for Kenyans who became victims is becoming such a big issue that we have to sit here and debate and plead, Mr. Speaker. Please, America, why don't you compensate our people? And let us call this thing a thing of the past. Let us bury it so that it does not give us those bad memories when we become victims of things which we have, of offenses which we have not committed against anybody. Mr. Speaker, we are clean. We don't commit offenses against other countries. They are only very, if there is any, it is very, very little interaction that we have internationally where people will have reason to come and bomb us, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would not like to go deeply into all these issues, Mr. Speaker, but only I want to conclude, Mr. Speaker, by pleading once again, to the authorities, to the United States of America, to rethink this issue and find ways and means of calling this thing a thing of the past. Let us bury this matter and call it a thing of the past, and let us go in other chapters, and let us continue our good relationship. This government has very good relationship with the United States of America. Those relationships should continue without small hitches like this one, which is something which America is capable of putting behind their back without too much ado. Mr. Speaker, I hope that all of us will support this report, and with those very many or very few remarks, I beg to support the report. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Chute Mohammed.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, let me also take this opportunity to thank Senator Kavindo for chairing this committee. And she passionately followed this matter up. And sometimes she even feels like she wants to cry. I am in that committee also. And when the victims came before us, when they narrated to us what they went through, I think all members who were there cried because it was not something that you can stomach. Honorable Speaker, August 7th, 1998, I was in Addis Ababa on a business trip. I left my hotel room at around very early morning, around 7 o'clock. When I came back to the hotel at 1 o'clock, I switched on the television. The first thing I saw is bombing in Nairobi. And so many people died. Honorable Speaker, 212 Kenyans died that same day. And 4,000 others were injured, maimed, and suffered suffering that cannot be even narrated by ordinary people, unless you've gone through what they went through. Honorable Speaker, our Article 26 of our Constitution is very clear. Every person has a right to life.
whether you are an American, a Kenyan, whoever you are in this country, you have the right to life. Honorable Speaker, the issue of American bombing, what they normally say in America, when other people die, they say it's a collateral damage. Lives are being called collateral damage. Honorable Speaker, the issue that happened that day, it is not something Americans didn't know. They had enough intelligence, knowing very well that there would be something that is going to happen soon, and to the embassy. They didn't want to care because, yes, they've lost about 56 contractors and American employees, American government employees. Honorable Speaker, this issue of calling people, human beings, collateral damage must stop. And why are we asking for compensation? The reason is very simple, Honorable Speaker. American embassy is like American country by itself. When they attacked the embassy, they attacked Americans. And they didn't care how many other Kenyans would die. And, Honorable Speaker, there is a program from Sudan that money that was set aside to compensate victims of the bombing blast in both Tanzania and Kenya. Honorable Speaker, some people were compensated, but Kenyans were not compensated. Honorable Speaker, when we sat in that committee, we came to know that those who have died, we are sorry about it, but those who didn't die, they got injuries that are completely unrepairable. These people suffered, humiliated, and they lost their jobs. They lost their earnings. Some lost their mother, some lost fathers, and even some very young children could not manage to survive because they lost parents. Honorable Speaker, our people, the Kenyans, suffered both physical and emotional damage. That is completely, Honorable Speaker, if you are in that committee, you will be shocked. We cried. We had CS Nakumincha before us. We had CS Mutua and also Mudavadi. In fact, we visited his office. And when CS Nakumincha was there, those people narrated the story, what they went through, and the suffering they went through. Mr. Speaker, I'll tell you, some people came in crutches, even up to today. They are walking not compensated for all those years. Honorable Speaker, I know our president is going to travel to Sudan next week, and I will urge him, on behalf of this House, to tell the Americans that we are not collateral damage. We are human beings like the Americans who are working for that government. And the contractors who are working for the government, they were compensated in terms of billions of shillings, Honorable Speaker. If we are going to host Americans here, and then we suffer because we host them, who will take responsibility? It is the government of the United States of America. Honorable Speaker, when you see what is happening today in Gaza, any equipment, even the bombing that happened in Nairobi, maybe even that bombs is manufactured from America. Look at what is happening in Gaza today. One missile is costing millions of shillings. If they set aside even 10 missiles, can compensate the Kenyans. Completely. Everybody will be paid. Who was working for a bank lost her job because she was disabled. 10 minutes before or seconds before, she was a able person working for a bank. And up to today, she has no earnings and she has suffered heavily. Honorable Speaker, I want to, if possible, if the president goes there, he needs to tell the Americans that that was not our war. That is American war, Honorable Speaker. And we are suffering because of this war. Honorable Speaker, even up to today, we are still losing people to Al-Shabaab. Why are we losing people to Al-Shabaab? We have no quarrel with anybody in Somalia. We have no quarrel with any Muslim organization. The problem is there is an issue between the Americans and the Muslim community. The issue is between a certain Muslim community, not everybody. But who is suffering? We've lost soldiers, even in Marsabit, who are in Somalia. We are losing people, even bombing, even up to 2022. Honorable Speaker, why are we having these issues? We have neighbors, Ethiopia, Somalia, Sudan, Uganda, Tanzania. We have no problems with them. We are not fighting with them. Why are we having this issue? The issue we are having is because of the double standard of this American government. Honorable Speaker. And if they stop using their double standard, you will see them funding countries to fight each other. They brought a problem between Iraq and Iran. The same equipment, missiles, they gave to Iran.
Senator Chuta, if I understood the move of this motion is that the U.S. is very intended to compensate. But your line of argument is that they are pending. So I want you not to lose the focus with the mover because she is already negotiating with the Americans so that they don't get your statements like they are the ones impending the...
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we are not begging them. We are demanding from them to pay our people. No, we are not requesting, Honorable Speaker. It is a demand that our people lost their lives, maimed and tortured, both mentally and physically. It's because of their issues. They had intelligence. They didn't care. Honorable Speaker, the same thing is happening in Gaza today. Thousands and thousands of children and women are dying. The same people, the ammunition the Israeli is using is the American one. So that's why I'm saying, let us not ask as if we are begging them. We are demanding what is rightfully ours. Our people must be compensated, not even at a lower percentage, to the maximum. Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, let me end up by saying our president is going to travel. He can use any means possible. Furthermore, we've been having these issues for many years. Some people have even died. Some are still alive. The compensation that will be given will be those who died also and those who are maimed and also having issues today in Kenya. So I'm asking the president to put up our case and see how we can get these people compensated as quickly as possible. In conclusion, I beg to support this motion, this report, and I want also to thank once again Senator Kavindu for very good job she has done. Asante sana. Thank you very much.
Senator Mugatana, Danson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to make my comments on the progress report from the committee that is very ably led by the Honorable Kavindu. And Mr. Speaker, first I want to really appreciate the work that Senator Chair has done so far. And I will be very brief, Mr. Speaker. This is a progress report. Mr. Speaker, I appreciate the fact that the Chair and the Honorable Senator Manzo were able to meet with Senator Coons of the US and made some progress towards the settlement of the victims. They have also explained to us the challenge, which is that the US needs to amend its law so that Kenya can be included amongst the countries that can be compensated using those frozen assets of the of terrorists that have been frozen in the US. So, Mr. Speaker, to that end, I want to congratulate the chair of this ad hoc committee. I also want to thank the Honorable Senator Manzo for the effort that they have put so far in doing the work that needed to be done. But, Mr. Speaker, I have issues. I have issues with two ministries. There's the Ministry of Health, Mr. Speaker. According to what this report tells us, the committee in page 6 of this report gave directions to the Ministry of Health to conduct medical assessments of the victims of the 1998 US bombing of the US Embassy in Nairobi and submit the report of assessment to the committee in order to assist the committee build its case on compensation of the said victim. So, Mr. Speaker, the first disappointment I have, has the Ministry of Health carried out this assessment? Because it appears to me, Mr. Speaker, that despite the directions that were given to the Ministry of Health, so far the Ministry of Health has not been able to submit the medical assessments to this committee to enable them build up a case for these victims. Mr. Speaker, it will be very embarrassing for the President to engage the US government when he goes on this trip to DC, and then they are asked, what has the Ministry of Health of Kenya done? This document is available to them if they just need to Google it, and they will find that there was a recommendation to the Ministry of Health that they carry out assessments on all the victims of the bombing. Mr. Speaker, here we are, and all of us agree the President should put some pressure when he goes on his trip. But here we are asking the President to talk about this, and yet his Minister for Health has not given us the assessment for these victims. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to express my disappointment on that bit, because we need to do our bit, even as we are looking forward to this compensation through the efforts of the Senator Kavindu and her team. But we need to tell the Minister for Health, CS Nankumicha, the PS for Health, that they should actually provide the assessment, so that when we are dealing with this matter at those levels, we are dealing with facts. And these people are also supposed to provide some treatment to the surviving victims, so that when we are saying, let us have the compensation, we'll be saying, look, on the Ministry of Health, this is the assessment we have done. As a Ministry of Health, we have assisted these people. We've given them support in medical care. We've done this and that. But then now we are requesting the US to give us compensation. So my first disappointment is that the Ministry of Health has not lived up to these directions. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the other direction that was given is that the committee gave the following direction. Roman 2, that the Ministry of Labor and Social Protection and the National Council for Persons with Disability undertake registration for survivors with disabilities. Again, Mr. Speaker, there is no report that has been attached to this report that suggests this progress report has not attached. So from where we sit in the Senate, it is clear that the Ministry for Labor again has not done the registration of those victims. So, Mr. Speaker, if the Ministry of Labor has not registered and issued the people affected with those certificates for disabilities, again, we will be seen to be going behind. We are making huge requests, but what have we done ourselves as a nation? So, Ministry of Health hasn't done its part. Ministry of Labor and Social Services has also not done its part. Mr. Speaker, the Cabinet Secretary in charge of Foreign Affairs is supposed to push the matter of compensation at cabinet level. Again, Mr. Speaker, there's no evidence that has been attached here to suggest that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has actually been putting the necessary pressure at cabinet level. Mr. Speaker, what Musalia Mudavadi, Honorable, should have done is to at least develop a white paper for consideration at cabinet level. Mr. Speaker, if our people are being denied what is rightfully theirs, and it is only the Senate that is pushing, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is not really pushing this matter, even at cabinet level, Mr. Speaker, I wish to register my disappointment in that ministry. Mr. Speaker, the last directions that were given by the committee, which was Roman 4, was that the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Interior and National Administration develops regulations to operationalize the compensation of the victims of terrorism fund. Again, Mr. Speaker, just regulations, because the compensation for victims of terrorism act was passed after this bomb blast. But then the regulations need to be put in place so that in the event that anything happens in future, and we hope it doesn't, then the regulations are there so that the people who are victims can actually benefit from this act which was passed. But Mr. Speaker, again, just to develop regulations, again, Professor Kindiki has not done so, Mr. Speaker, and yet the Senate has said that these are the directions they are giving so that we can put the agenda for the victims of the US 1998 bomb blast on the table. So, Mr. Speaker, my contribution is that as we even seek the help of the US so that our victims of 1998 bombings can get compensated, it is actually shameful that our own ministries have not done what they are supposed to do. It is also shameful that even after directions from the Senate that were given, after the Senate met the stakeholders who were the victims of the bombing, and nothing has happened. And yet, here we are asking the president to go and push the agenda. And yet, the ministers have not done their bit in their various capacities. So, Mr. Speaker, I pray that our comments will be taken into consideration. Our comments in approving this report, Mr. Speaker, will include the fact that we are urging the ministry in charge of health to do the necessary as directed by the committee. We are urging the Ministry of Labour and Social Protection and also the National Council for Persons with Disabilities to also do what they were directed by the Senate ad hoc committee. We are also asking the minister in charge, the CS in charge of Foreign Affairs, to also push as directed. We are also asking the CS in charge of Interior to also do his bit. Mr. Speaker, it is not very good diplomatically, and I have had the opportunity to serve as an assistant minister in foreign affairs in previous government administration. If you're going to ask for help, let's say your country has had a disaster of any form, if you're going to ask for help, you must tell your potential helpers that you see this has overwhelmed us because we have done this, we have done this, we have done this, but we need your support in this manner. Just like when we have disasters. So when we have a disaster, 1998 bomb blast, the Ministry of Health should say, we have done this. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we have done this. The Ministry of Interior, we have done this. And the Ministry of Social Protection, we have done this. Mr. Speaker, but we are overwhelmed on the question of compensation. So although we have done this a bit as a country, we are still asking for more so that we can settle the compensation claims. Mr. Speaker, if this is the way we approach this matter, even those people will be sympathetic with us. But Mr. Speaker, the risk of being ignored is very high if we go and we show that actually we have done nothing as a nation. We need to ask these various ministries to do what they are supposed to do so that, Mr. Speaker, we don't embarrass ourselves even as we ask for the US to do its part. Mr. Speaker, with those remarks, I beg to support. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Asante, Bwana Spika. Mimi naunga mkono kamati ya Senator Kafindu ya Andio Committee, na pia mimi ni mmoja wa hiyo committee, tulikuwa 9. Na mambo ya ajabu, sisi committee tumetembea, tumeona waziri wa Ripa, waziri wa Health, na pia hata Musalia Mudavadi, hata wa security. Pia tumetembea mpaka Masinani, tukaenda Machakos na kona zingine. Na pia Bwana Spika, ni kitu ya kuhuzunisha sana kwa sababu ni miaka 25 kutoka hiyo kitendo ifanyike, na tunajua kama ni ajali na kama ni mambo imefanyika, Bwana Spika, huwa imalisi miaka 3 ama miaka 4 kama mtu anjalipwa. Hii ni kitu ambayo ilifanyika kwa serikali ya Kenya, ambayo ilifanywa na watu kutoka nje, na ndio tumekuwa tukiongea tukisema serikali ya Kenya kwanza ambaye saa hii inafanya kazi na pia inajali mwananchi. Tumekuwa tukiomba iungane na Amerika ndio hiyo kilio ya hao watu iweze kusikika. Madam Speaker, najua tumeona watu wengi ambao walizaliwa wakiwa ni walizaliwa vizuri, walikuwa na mikono, walikuwa na macho, na pia walilelewa vizuri na wakafunzwa vizuri na familia zao. Mambo ya ajabu wakati tulikutana na wale watu, wengine hawakuwa na miguu, wengine hawakuwa na macho, wengine unakuta mtu alikuwa anafanya kazi ni mtu mwenye elimu ya juu, lakini baadaye unakuta saa hii ni maskini ya mwaka. Kwa hivyo, Madam Speaker, ningeomba vile kamati ya Andio Committee inaweza kusaidika, kwa sababu ni kitu ya kuhuzunika sana wakati tulisaidiwa tukatengenezwa kamati ya watu 9, hata tulikuwa na mipango ya kwenda Amerika. Mambo ya ajabu, kamati ikakosa pesa, watu 2 ndio waweza kuhudhuria, au wengine hawakuweza. Ikawa kamati ni kama hakuna kitu inafanya. Kwa hiyo ningeomba, ndio umesikia tukisema hata wale watu husikika mambo ya pesa, kamati nyingi iwe ikiongezewa pesa ndio iweze kufanya kazi ile inafaa. Na nimestuka sana, unaangalia wale watu wenye pesa, parliament ndio juzi njana tulingangana tukisema, wakati tunasema county patiwe pesa bilioni na 15 unakuta watu wengine wanapinga kama ni MP. Kwa hiyo ningeomba kamati zote siongezewe pesa ndio iweze kufanya ile kazi inafaa. Kwa sababu tunajua kamati ya Senate hatutaki mambo mingi, tunataka kusaidia mwananchi kutoka vijijini kwa county na mpaka Kenya mzima. Kwa hiyo Bwana Spika, mimi naunga mkono, lakini hata kama naunga mkono, kamati zile zingine kama sinateseka kama kamati ya Andio Committee ni kitu ya aibu sana, kwa sababu hakuna pesa ya kufanya hiyo kazi. Ningeomba pia tuongezewe pesa, na pia hata miezi kadhaa tumekuwa tukifanya bila pesa, tumejitolea. Ningeomba kuangaliwe ndio tuongezewe pesa, na kama ni pesa kamati hiyo watu 9 tuweze kuenda kule Amerika, tuweze kuona kilio ya hao watu. Na tukiendelea hivyo pia department zote zile tuliwaita pia ya health, ya labor, hata ya security, hao watu wanaweza kuangaliwa, vile wanaweza kuwa wakiangaliwa wakipatiwe kitu kidogo. Kwa hiyo Madam Speaker, naunga mkono. Asante Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Mudigi. I can hear your very passionate plea for more additional budget for the committees. Senator Agnes Kavindu, you can now come in and reply.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Let me take this opportunity to thank Senator Maanzo, Senator Cheregai, Senator Oburu, and Senator Chute, Senator Mungatana, and Senator Mundiki, who has been able to give their contributions on this motion. Madam Speaker, I want to say the reason why I am very passionate about this motion and about this compensation of the victims of 1998 bomb blast is because, Madam Speaker, when you meet them, some of them are totally blind. And these people were born seeing just like us. And today they cannot see, so they cannot do a lot of things for themselves. They are not even able to work because of the bomb blasts. Others are paralyzed. They are on wheelchairs. They cannot even shower themselves. They need help. And yet they have no money and they have nobody to take care of them. Madam Speaker, there is one particular lady who the husband died on the bomb blast and herself was also involved in the bomb blast. She is totally blind and she was pregnant. She has given birth to a daughter who she doesn't even know how the daughter looks. And as if that was not enough, she was also chased away from her matrimonial home. She lives begging to get accommodation. Madam Speaker, this thing really hurts me when I think of how these people live today. Most of them were working. Today, they cannot work. Some of them, majority of them were sacked because they could not deliver to the places where they were employed. Some of them were working at Cooperative Bank. Others were teachers. And today they are jobless, begging for food, begging even for medication. And what hurts me even more is that we met with the Minister for Health, and we requested her to even provide medication for these people. Yesterday, I received a message from one Pamela Ouma requesting me to buy her medication because she's totally paralyzed and she has no medication. Madam Speaker, even as we seek the amendment of the law from the Senate in America and the Congress so that they can include Kenyan victims in the victim of the state-sponsored terrorist fund, which is there, which is not even a taxpayers of America, but the money that they collect from terrorists and put in that particular fund. Madam Speaker, I want to enlighten this House that the lawyers in America, and we met them with you, Madam Speaker, when we went for the prayers, and Mussolini has already sued for this, some of these victims, about 351 of them. And he has been, they've been awarded compensation of $56.6 billion, US dollars.
And this money, he could not compensate these people because Kenya is not included in the terrorist sponsored fund. And that is why we are seeking for the Americans to amend the law to include Kenyans. Given that Kenya, Al-Qaeda was not fighting Kenya, but Al-Qaeda was fighting America. We took their bullets, and they should be the big brothers that we look upon because America is known for defending human rights. These are humans who needs to be compensated. That is their right. And America should just take up their role and do the right thing. The American Senate and the Congress should amend the law and include Kenyans. And I'm asking our president, as he moves to America, and the Foreign Affairs Minister, Musalia Mudavadi, to go and talk to them. And I was actually requesting if he can take 2 or 3 of us with them on board so that we can go and lay our petitions before the committee, and the committee is ready. You can hear, Madam Speaker, and you are aware of this. When we went to America, we met with Senator Chris Coons, and he's ready to sit down with the committee. But the Foreign Affairs Minister has not been able to get us the appointment to be able to meet with them. And we know that this has to be done diplomatically and through the Foreign Affairs. If it was in my position, I would do anything to make sure that this is done. But it is not in my place, it is not in my position. So I'm asking the President and the Foreign Affairs and Diaspora Minister to be able to do what is needful. This is our people. They suffer, they sleep hungry, they go without medication, and they suffer. And even what can be done locally here, I am requesting that it should be done. Because we also have the fund that was formed here in 2012, which is under the Ministry of Interior. And I would ask CS Kindiki to operationalize this fund so that he can also see what he can do for these victims, even as we wait for the Americans to compensate our people. I want to ask Madam Speaker that even as the Senate, we call these concerned ministers here and ask them questions why they've not been able they've not been concerned about these victims. And yet, they are our people, and we are asking for Americans to do what is needful. It is our right, it is their right, but also here in Kenya, locally, we must do what is needful for these people so that they can also feel like any other Kenyan. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm looking forward for the Foreign Affairs Minister and our President to do what is needful for our people. When I went to America before I made this motion, I met with the lawyers and one of the victims, Caroline Mudoka. And they told me whenever they try to advance and reach out to the Senate and the Congress, they are asked, the lawyers are asked, why are you fighting for them and the Kenyan government is quiet on this? Madam Speaker, I got so mad that I told them once I'm back in Kenya, I'll do a motion and they'll hear the voice of Kenya speaking and demanding for what is rightfully ours. Al-Qaeda, I repeat, was not fighting Kenya. Al-Qaeda was fighting America. And America should take their responsibility and compensate Kenyans who are not compensated. Because they only compensated the Kenyans who are working for the American embassy inside. But those who are in the adjacent buildings and those who are passing by, those who are in buses and cars outside, were not compensated. We are talking of 6,000 people, and 200 of them, 213, are dead already. And those people are not compensated. So we are asking that America kindly be the big brother that we look upon and amend the law so that you can compensate our people. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I submit.
Thank you, Honorable Senator. Your plea has been very passionate ever since you started moving this motion, and I hope it sees the light of day someday so that the bomb blast victims can be compensated. I know our colleagues on the other side of the oceans, the Senate in the US, will hear this motion even as it gets into the handset. Pursuant to Standing Order 84-1, I hereby make a determination that this matter does not affect counties. And honorable senators, I put the question that the Senate adopts the progress report of the ad hoc committee on the compensation of Kenyan victims of the 1998 bombing of the United States of America Embassy in Nairobi, laid on the table of Senate on Thursday, 2nd May, 2024. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as are of contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Thank you. Next order. I will now direct that the order paper be reorganized and you call out order number 19.
Order number 19, the Statutory Instruments Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bills number 2 of 2023, second reading.
Leader of Majority, Senator Aaron Cheriot, can take the floor.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise. Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the Statutory Instruments Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 2 of 2023, be now read a second time. This is a very important piece of legislation, Madam Speaker. Brief as it is, it carries with it very important powers of Parliament, which have been assumed by other bodies, Madam Speaker. And on many occasions, I've seen either ministers or even sometimes, as a Speaker, state agencies continue to carry on legislations that have the full force of law without consideration either of Parliament or sometimes when they have lapsed, Madam Speaker, without any reference back to the House of Parliament for consideration of the same. This bill seeks to cure that particular anomaly, Madam Speaker. That's why I like the fact that this bill is being moved here in Parliament so that colleagues can have time to debate and share one or two things they think about this particular process. Because I've seen on many occasions, Madam Speaker, sometimes newspaper items that erroneously report on the process of consideration of regulations that they have already been approved or not approved, that Parliament has ceded its power by passing a particular bill. Madam Speaker, this is a mother law on all regulations that are supposed to be considered by the Houses of Parliament. And therefore, it is not possible by other subsidiary legislation to take these powers away. Anything that will have the force of law outside there by way of regulation, Madam Speaker, will have to follow the route that will now be dictated by this particular bill. And therefore, the principal object of this amendment bill, Madam Speaker, is to amend actually the provisions of the Statutory Instruments Act of 2013, which is to allow the Committee on Delegated Legislation to require the regulation-making authority to submit to Parliament a copy of any regulation that ceases to have an effect by operation of law. That is, when the time lapses, Madam Speaker, it must come back to the House for both houses to consider. And that is what is being referenced in this particular bill. The amendment, Madam Speaker, further obligates Parliament to notify the general public in 2 newspapers of wide circulation that a statutory instrument which ceases to have the effect by operation of law is a nullity. You know, you must actually notify the public that this regulation has ceased to operate because of the reasons that have been stated. Fourthly, Madam Speaker, you know, like I mentioned, there have been cases where authorities fail to submit regulations to Parliament, and such regulations continue to be enforced until sometimes Parliament actually either annuls them or recalls those particular regulations. This bill will ensure that the regulation making authority to submit statutory instruments to Parliament, and the bill will ensure that nobody exploits the mischief of trying to implement regulations that are null and void, which is the case. Clause 2 of the bill, Madam Speaker, more specifically, will be amending Section 11 of the 2013 Act and determine that our delegated legislative committee will require the regulation-making authority to submit instrument to Parliament within 7 days of the date of the resolution of the committee. And further, notwithstanding subsections 4 and 5, Parliament where statutory instruments cease to have effect in accordance with subsection 4, notify the public in 2 newspapers that the instrument is an nullity. Before, we didn't have that regulation, Madam Speaker. There was no way of notifying other entities that we have run short of this. Therefore, it was actually incumbent on the other bodies and the authorities that are handling this bill to notify the public that these operations, these regulations are no longer in force. How do you report yourself? So what government entities do, they continue to operate with those regulations. And therefore, that is what we are seeking to cure by ensuring that our own delegated legislation committee can notify the public and say, buyer beware, you know, of course, in the sense of the members of the public, that regulation this and this on a particular sector or field is no longer operational until Parliament gives a further notice. Therefore, in concluding, the passage of this bill will ensure transparency and accountability in consideration of statutory instruments. I want to urge honorable senators to support this bill, Madam Speaker. It's a very straightforward issue, 5 clauses only. It's not anything that anyone would consider controversial or wish to say, Madam Speaker, a lot on it. And therefore, Madam Speaker, because I respect Parliament and I love putting to good use the time of Parliament, when a bill is brief, even in their moving remarks, the leader of majority also has to be brief. When it is elaborate, I have to be elaborate, Madam Speaker. I don't see why I should take more time than that, Madam Speaker, to explain the 3 clauses that exist in this particular bill. With those very many remarks, Madam Speaker, I beg to move and request the chairperson of Justice and Legal Affairs Committee, the Senator of Bomet, Senator Hilary Sigei, to second.
Senator Sigei.
I thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to second this very important bill that the majority leader has moved. And as I do that, Madam Speaker, it is imperative to point out the fact that this is a bill that indeed is an umbrella to statutory legislations, or rather regulations, which are normally made by either institutions and sometimes fail to place them before Parliament for purposes of scrutiny. And indeed, Madam Speaker, the amendments to the bill is aimed at very specific aspects of it. One is to have an opportunity for Parliament to scrutinize such instruments so that even as they are published for purposes of application by such state organs, state entities, or agencies, the aspect of protection of the public interest is fully taken care of by the Parliament, which is constitutionally mandated to protect the interest of the public, because parliamentary approval and parliamentary oversight over legislation is a constitutional edict. And the need to have these instruments scrutinized by Parliament is imperative, and that is the reason why such regulations, as provided for by the proposed amendments, are to be published by the House. And to be very specific, Madam Speaker, as I support this particular bill, Clause 2 that seeks to amend Section 11 of the Statutory Instruments Act is indeed giving timelines within which instruments that have been, or rather such instruments that have been published by either agencies or government institutions are to be placed before Parliament, and Parliament is expected to publish them within a period of 7 days after the committee has resolved that it is indeed something that has been placed before the House. Why, Madam Speaker, is this timeline very critical? It is critical because previously, we have had statutory instruments which have been applied by various state agencies without the input of the relevant committee of Parliament, and by extension is devoid of the input of the public, because the committee of Parliament is deemed to be a representation of the people. The 7-day period which is given to Parliament to publish is also to make sure that there isn't unnecessary delay in publication and application of the statutory instruments, which of course by the time they are being published are supposed to be utilized to ensure that services to the public is within the relevant regulations. And so the amendment, the proposed amendment under subclause 2.5 is long overdue, and I fully support. Secondly, the requirement that a statutory instrument that has ceased to be operational must equally be published and the public is notified, so that for whatever it takes, any other government agency that would fail to publish a nullified instrument or regulation in itself is to have committed an offense, which is actually another subsequent provision of this particular statutory instrument amendment bill. The proposed amendment under Clause 3 to Section 12 of the Principal Act, Madam Speaker, is very critical. And this is because the Act as is provides that there is no exemption to orders or regulations that are emanating from courts of law, where, as you all know, that there are 3 arms of government: the legislature, judiciary, and the executive are independent of one another. This amendment seeks to protect the regulations and orders that are emanating from courts of law as judicial pronouncements from a requirement that they be subjected to parliamentary scrutiny. Because if it were to be subjected to a parliamentary scrutiny, it definitely will go against the constitutional requirement of independence. So this particular amendment is very critical in ensuring that independence of various arms of government is safeguarded. And Madam Speaker, the third and another critical aspect of this proposed amendment is the proposed amendment to Section 18 that requires the clerk of the House, this House and the lower house, to ensure that a gazette is published in 2 newspapers of nationwide circulation. The reason why it is important, Madam Speaker, is because once a statutory instrument is published in 2 newspapers of national or wide circulation, it is seen that the public is notified of such a regulation, and therefore one will not purport to allege that there is utilization of statutory instruments that has not been subjected to parliamentary scrutiny. And this publication also applies to those which have been revoked, because once they are revoked, a revocation must as well be published in the parliamentary website, and this is for purposes of notifying the public of the action that has been undertaken by Parliament. Lastly, Madam Speaker, the proposed amendment that is seeking to amend Section 24 of the Principal Act. This is in itself to ensure that for those people who are in authority, those people who've been donated the mandate to make statutory instruments, if and when they fail to do so, because this is what the Act says, it is providing for a penalty for inaction on the part of those who have been given authority to do it, and the penalties have been enhanced from Kenya shillings 20,000 to not less than 500,000, and also a period of 2 years in prison in the event that a person or an institution that has got authority has failed to do so. And the reason why this is done is to make sure that people or persons in authority do not, enhance the norm that we do know people have a tendency of accounting officers just failing to comply with the law, failing to do what the law requires of them to do because there is no punitive measure that will be felt by such persons for failing to comply with that particular law. And by enhancing this fine from 20,000 to 500,000, this will ensure that the penalty is so punitive that one is not ready to be subjected to such a penalty or even to be put in prison for a period of 2 years for their inability to act as required by the law. And so, Madam Speaker, I fully support this particular bill and ask the members of this House to support the passage in order to make sure that whatever statutory instruments which institutions or government agencies do utilize for purposes of service to the public have the scrutiny that is required by law in Parliament and are also fully implemented as per the law. Madam Speaker, I support.
Thank you, Senator Sige. Honourable Senators, I propose the question that the Statutory Instruments Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bills number 2 of 2023, be now read a second time, and I open the floor for contributions from the senators. Senator Danson Mungatana.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to make my contribution to this bill. Madam Speaker, on the first point, I'd like to say I support the amendment. Why I say so, Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, is because I come from the Delegated Legislation Committee of the Senate. And in fact, Madam Speaker, I have the responsibility there of being the vice chair of that committee. Madam Speaker, this amendment is a reminder to regulations making agencies, RMAs, we call them, regulations making agencies. These include ministers, these include corporations such as the CA, Communications Authorities of Kenya. These include all other regulators who are playing in the space of government. Mr. Speaker, it is a reminder to them that law-making process does not belong to the executive. Law-making process does not belong to authorities that have been set up by law. Law-making process, legislation, powers belong to the Senate and the National Assembly. And when we donate the powers to them, for them to make regulations, we are only doing so that they can make those laws that we have made here, the mother laws, to be effective. But, Madam Speaker, this instrument was necessitated by the fact that some of these regulation-making agencies, they would finish with regulations and then forget even to publish to the people. Like the mover has said, they would even continue, sometimes those regulations have lapsed, but they will continue to apply them. And then Senate or National Assembly gets to know that a regulation which is not there is being applied. Madam Speaker, we have had a very funny situation because this Statutory Instrument Act says that after 10 years, all those regulations must lapse and they must go back for reenactment. And Madam Speaker, every minister or every regulations-making agency must come before the Delegated Legislation Committees of National Assembly and the Senate so that they can justify why they need extension of those regulations which have expired. But Madam Speaker, the regulations making agencies have become a law unto themselves. They forget that we just donated these powers to them. The power to make law is with the National Assembly and the Senate of the Republic of Kenya. That's what the Constitution says. So I would strongly support this amendment because it is telling them these powers belong to the Senate and you must do according to the donated powers. Don't try to extend things which you don't have. Don't try to extend powers that you don't have. Madam Speaker, as I conclude, I want to make 2 quick points. Number 1, Madam Speaker, regulations making agencies, these are the ministers and the statutory bodies that exist there. We want to encourage them that before you make regulations, before you go publishing, because I know you are listening to me wherever you are, please come before the delegated, Senate delegated committee or the National Assembly delegated committee. You can go to one and then come to the other. Why we say so, Madam Speaker, is because, again, that power is not yours. That power is given to you. Those regulations are donated powers from the Senate and the National Assembly. So don't rush to publicize. Don't rush to gazette. Come for pre-publication consultation, so that if there is a problem, we will tell you what you're trying to publish is in conflict with the Mother Act, is in conflict with the Constitution. Come so that we work together to get efficient work, reject regulations that you have taken so much time and even expense to gazette. So I would urge that you come for pre-publication consultation with the delegated legislation committees of both houses before you gazette. And when you come, there are 2 things we will require of you. Number 1, we will require the Regulations Impact Assessment Report, the RIA. And number 2, we will require proof of public participation. Why? Because you have to tell us, if it is a regulations for MIRA, who participated in approving those MIRA regulations? Don't say it is only the farmers. What about the consumers? What about those people who use the roads? Who are the stakeholders who approved those regulations? Please come so that we talk, because public participation, if it is not sufficient, we will reject those regulations. Even if you have gazetted them, we will degazette them again. So you will end up with a zero-sum game. Come also with the Regulations Impact Assessment Report. Those 2 documents are extremely important so that you can tell us these refugee regulations that you are proposing, of what impact are they to stakeholders? We would urge very much all regulations making authorities, please come for pre-publication scrutiny so that we can discuss with you, correct you, and then when you are exercising the donated power from the Senate, from the National Assembly, it can be done in accordance with the law, not to be done the way it has been done in the past, and then we have problems. So, Madam Speaker, I just wanted to use this opportunity to also talk to the people who are in the executive in various positions who make regulations so that they can remember that this law is reminding them that they are operating on donated power. It is not their power. Their power is just to execute what the National Assembly and the Senate have passed. And please, when you're doing these regulations, do them in such a manner that you are in consultation. Don't rush to gazette and then we have to annul what you have done. Madam Speaker, with those very many remarks, I beg to support this bill at this stage. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Monkatana. Those were the senators who wish to contribute to this motion. I now want to invite the majority leader to respond.
Speaker, thank you. I want to thank my colleagues who have taken time to speak on this important bill, making their contribution and their thoughts on something that I said, though brief, extremely important to the existence of Parliament as an institution, and something that we take for granted on many occasions, but have got grave implications if ignored. Therefore, I thank you, Senator Mungatana, for your thoughts. Many of the things you're saying, actually, some of them are in practice. I know, for example, Madam Speaker, for a fact, that our Committee on Delegated Legislation, I think, has a meeting tomorrow with the State Department for Housing, because they are further to the law that we passed here on affordable housing. There is a regulation making powers that we gave to the minister. And the State Department is in the state right now of developing those regulations to govern affordable housing, how you buy the house, how you make contribution, all those things. And they have sent the draft to the committee first for the committee to give their input. It's also part of like the public participation you're talking about, so that eventually when it comes to Parliament, Parliament was already involved. Then they consider now all the views of other stakeholders, so that Parliament is like an appellate in this particular, appellate court in this particular matter, where other stakeholders will now come and say, we see the ministry has proposed this, but this is what we thought would have been better. And then Parliament can make the final decision and approve on those regulations. So some of those things you're saying are actually in practice, but we need to make it the culture. And I like the fact that, like I said in my moving notes, Madam Speaker, this is the umbrella law, Statutory Instruments Act of 2013, just aligning it to our Constitution, making it alive for people to know that, first of all, we're in a bicameral legislative environment. So there are two houses of Parliament, because there have been instances, again, Madam Speaker, where regulations are taken to only one house. I haven't seen a lot of that this term, but it is something that we have confronted over the years in our existence during this season of bicameralism. Therefore, I thank you, my colleagues, for taking time. With those remarks, I beg to reply. Madam Speaker, in accordance to Standing Order number 66.3, I beg to request that the putting of question be deferred to another date. I thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Senator. The putting of question is deferred to another date, as will be scheduled by the SPC. I will further direct that the order paper be rearranged so that we call out order number 18, Clerk.
Order number 18, the Metrology Bill, Senate Bills number 45 of 2023, second reading.
Majority Leader, please.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the Metrology Bill, Senate Bill number 45 of 2023, be now read a second time. Madam Speaker, the Metrology Bill was published in the Kenya Gazette Supplement number 172 of 2023. The principal object of this bill, Madam Speaker, is to put in place legislative framework to regulate meteorology services in Kenya and to coordinate and monitor meteorological services. The bill proposes to establish the Kenya Meteorological Services Authority, which shall be responsible for the provision, regulation, coordination, and management of meteorology services. Why is that important, Madam Speaker? It is because we live in a data-driven society. Before Kenyans make any decision nowadays, they prefer to ask, what does science say about this? What is the legitimate information? Which is the single source of truth? Madam Speaker, you know that nowadays, because of technology, there are many places through which Kenyans can get information and meteorological services. Some are accurate, some are not accurate. Yet, Madam Speaker, some of the decisions that our citizens take based on the information they received have got far-reaching implications. And therefore, on many occasions, Madam Speaker, it is normally important that when these considerations are being made, members of the public know that they are getting that information from a credible institution. And many Kenyans, forget about this noise that you read about on Twitter and social media. Many Kenyans believe and they trust government institutions. We have got very credible organizations. You see here in the Speaker's Gallery every afternoon, people visiting this country from Zambia, from Malawi, from I don't know which country. So many African countries, they come to benchmark on Kenyan institutions. Because you know, this has been a stable democracy for over 60 years. And our institutions have, there's a journey that they have traveled. And many occasions, many countries actually benchmark, both on the continent, on Africa, and sometimes I have met CEOs and heads of parastatals who tell me that they were actually in the company of delegations from as far as Southeast of Asia and some European countries who are here in the country, Madam Speaker, benchmarking on how certain institutions work in our country. So don't be fooled, Madam Speaker, by the noise that you read on social media many times about our country and the things that are not working. I can tell you that there are very credible government institutions which are reliable, which many Kenyans go to for information. And government, Madam Speaker, is an institution that needs to be guarded. That's why on many occasions, Madam Speaker, when I read about public officials who have messed up a particular institution, I am very firm on that particular issue, Madam Speaker, that we cannot allow our institutions to be, and their credibility to be watered down, because institutions that have lived over the years, many institutions from across the world come to study and understand how is it that you people have been able to do a particular issue, you know? And therefore, this is one such institution that we are founding, which at this point, Madam Speaker, we may not be able to be a benchmark institution for others because it's still new. But suddenly, and I know this for a fact, Madam Speaker, over the years, 10, 20, 30 years down the line, there will be countries that will come here to come and benchmark from this institution, because I know Kenyans ordinarily are very professional people. And when they are granted an opportunity to work in an institution, Madam Speaker, they do their best, Madam Speaker. There are many other reasons why we don't succeed in other things, but at least I know it is not for want of good professional work or people of good repute. Therefore, Madam Speaker, this bill provides a legal framework to set up that particular institution so that we know. You know, Madam Speaker, nowadays, we hardly see weather reports, yet you know that growing up, Ngwata Francis was almost like a permanent fixture on our television screens. And many people will dress the following day depending on the information that he gave on the news. That is not the case anymore, because people have come then to know that there are changing weather patterns and trends, which unfortunately, perhaps our meteorological department hasn't caught up with. But this legislative framework that is being proposed help us to set up an institution that is modern, that is need-specific, Madam Speaker, and fit for purpose to address that particular issue. Severe weather change and events in Kenya, Madam Speaker, including the just concluded prolonged drought and now the ongoing heavy rain season. You have seen how sinusoidal our weather patterns have become. You come from a high of a drought to another peak, Madam Speaker, of heavy rains, and all those in a season that is completely unpredictable, Madam Speaker. And they have significant impact on our country's population, economy, and the environment. These extreme weather phenomena have led to food and water shortages, loss of life and property, disruption of critical infrastructure, and many other things. It was possible, for example, Madam Speaker, if we had such institutions that are properly funded, to right now map out the country and inform people that you need to move out of certain areas because, you know, Either they are projected to be floods or landslides and things like that, Madam Speaker. And, you know, credible institution that when they speak, Kenyans will listen, despite the fact that many times Kenyans don't listen. Or sometimes you find even leaders, like, I was very disappointed, Madam Speaker. I saw Azimio leaders, including very respected members of this House, Madam Speaker, going somewhere in Mukuru, telling citizens not to bulge an inch. Yet they know that across the road in Mathare, Madam Speaker, we had lost citizens, Madam Speaker, who are living close to the shores of Nairobi River, Madam Speaker, and telling people, oh, government should not tell you where to move until they give you alternative housing. You know, hypocrisy, Madam Speaker, because I can bet you all those Azimio leaders, when they finish addressing the people of Mukuru and telling them not to move, they got into their cars and drove to Karen, you know, to enjoy their beer and nyamachoma after misleading Kenyans. That's why you need credible institutions such as this, so that when they speak with authority, Madam Speaker, Kenyans know that the warnings and the weather warnings they are giving are warnings that they should take and not rely on any politicians to speak this or the other way on that particular issue. The establishment, Madam Speaker, of the Kenya Meteorological Services Authority will ensure that we have accurate and timely weather forecast, early warnings for severe weather, and I have mentioned all that about the things that will be done. Specifically, just to quickly run through the various, because there is nothing really deep or further detailed about the bill other than the usual provisions of an act of parliament when you're setting up a new institution. And therefore, I'd quickly run over the various parts. But more importantly, Madam Speaker, is that part 1 or clause 1 to clause 4 of the bill, it provides for those provisions on outlines the purpose and objective for which I have properly enumerated, and helps Kenya actually be part of the global community. We are members of the global society, Madam Speaker, and there are certain global commitments that we have made as a country, which the passage of this bill helps us to fulfill, like the Convention of the World Meteorological Organization and the International Civil Aviation Organization, Madam Speaker, where we have signed up as a responsible country. Madam Speaker, we need to do this so that we give even weather warnings and such information. Clause 5 to clause 8 of the bill establishes this authority and provides for its function, the powers, the clauses, the functions of the authority, which is to maintain surface, upper air, marine meteorological observation networks, establishment and maintenance of integrated information system for exchange of this data, Madam Speaker, across the globe. It helps also issues such as forecasting, product dissemination, and provision of aeronautical meteorological services for safety, Madam Speaker, because we are part of the international global community. There are many planes right now, as we speak here, Madam Speaker, that are overflying our airspace. They rely on this data. That's why this institution is important, Madam Speaker, on what are the projected weather patterns for the next few days. As the pilots sit to plan their trips and so on and so forth, they can get more credible information, Madam Speaker. Therefore, then clause part 3 of the bill, which is clause 9 to 28, Madam Speaker, it provides for the management of the authority, who are the board of directors, who are the representatives, their qualifications for who's the chairperson of this board, and it needs to be somebody who's well-educated in these matters, Madam Speaker. The chairperson will be appointed by the president, and that particular person, the qualifications they need to meet, which is at least 10 years experience in the relevant field, and they hold a degree that is recognized in the Republic of Kenya, and does not hold a position that are likely to place that person in an environment of conflict of interest, and so on and so forth. Part 4 of the bill, Madam Speaker, provides for the establishment of the training institute and research. Research is important, Madam Speaker. It is what informs us where the world is headed. It is possible to build a credible research institution that other countries, these countries that keep on coming to Kenya to learn, will come and benchmark and know that Kenya is a standard bearer. We have a responsibility, being one of the most progressive nations on the continent, Madam Speaker, to come up with world-class institutions where the rest of the continent can take leave from and learn on global practices and so on and so forth. That's why we are setting up that research institution, because it is important, Madam Speaker, for us to develop the next group or school of professionals, Madam Speaker, who will serve in this particular institution. That's why Clause 29 exists. Clause 30, Madam Speaker, it provides for the financial provisions, how to report, audit procedures, all these things that we know, issues of liability, and so on and so forth. Part 6 of the bill, Madam Speaker, which is Clause 41 to 47, provides the provisions relating to offenses and penalties. You know, what you're supposed to do, what is a mistake. Many times when I move such bills, Madam Speaker, you know, we have a very interesting media in this country. Their obsession with mundane issues is legendary, Madam Speaker. You'll find that in an entire bill of all the things that I've said, they'll focus on the fine and somebody will run with a screaming headline that you'll now be charged 1 million shillings for wrongly predicting the weather, according to a bill moved by the Senate Majority Leader. You can't put that past our media. But anyway, we have come to love and live with them as they are. It provides for the penalties, Madam Speaker, because it's an offense to mislead the people of Kenya. Part 8, Madam Speaker, contains transitional provisions, what happens to the meteorological department, to the authority, and all those things, the saving powers of the institution, and so on and so forth. Therefore, Madam Speaker, with those very many remarks, I beg to move and request the Senator for Tana River, Senator Danson Buya Mungatana, to second.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Senator Mungatana, please.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I raise to second this very important bill that is before the Senate today. Madam Speaker, recently, the President addressed this nation on Cyclone Hidaya that was hitting us at the coast. And Madam Speaker, we were all very worried. In fact, all efforts were put to make sure our beloved pastime at the beach was stopped. The marine officials, the officials that the security agencies, all of them, Madam Speaker, prohibited any move and movement within the beach area for the protection of the people because of the expected destructive force that Cyclone Hidaya was bringing to the coast. Madam Speaker, we were really all very worried, including the entire, from Lamu down Tana River, down. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator, you will have a balance of 18 minutes when we resume the next sitting, that is tomorrow. You'll have 18 minutes to conclude seconding the motion. Honorable Senators, it is now 6:30 p.m. Time to adjourn the House. The Senate therefore stands adjourned until Thursday, 16th May 2024 at 2:30 p.m.